I got a okay. So then, like I was saying, okay, if a motherfucker got a gun, right? And that incident I was just telling you about with the cop. Now the cop got the gun and the law. Me, I'm in the wrong. I got a plate missing. I was drinking behind the wheel, and I'm just out here just bogus. You know, everything else is good, but still I was in the wrong. Now I could have been the type of motherfucker on some, hey motherfucker, man, I ain't do nothing, man. Fuck you and all this. Then now that's gonna escalate it. You see what I'm saying?
Don't misunderstand that. When you're wrong, you're wrong. Like you breaking the law. Period. Period. Dot. What I'm saying is that even like when you're breaking the law, the police have they have certain protocol. Right. There's certain protocol. But breaking the law is breaking the law. But I'm not breaking the law if I'm walking down the street, minding my fucking business, and you decide you want to stop me, ask me where I'm going, and show you. I'm not doing anything against the law. And at that instance, I should have the right to say, and I should be able to say it without fear of being killed. Right. I don't have to show you my ID because it's actually against the law for you to ask me that. And what they don't like and what they have a problem with is that when you know your law, when you know your rights, it seems to make them irritated. Like they get very indignant when you tell them what the law is. And some of the police officers, when you watch some of these videos, they're not even aware of what the protocol is, what the procedure is, what the law is. And so you do have these instances where you have police that are doing things illegally and they get mad and expect you to follow their command. Like, I don't have to do what you say do just because you're the police. And you know, you hear that all the time. Well, I'm the police. You're supposed to tell me, no, bitch, I don't have to tell you nothing. Yeah. I don't have to tell you where I'm going. I don't have to tell you where I live. Like, you know, and at the end of the day, we definitely need, I think they need to get rid of the police. They need to do like something public safety, but all of that needs to be revamped because it's ineffective.
I disagree. I don't think we need to get rid of the police because that's going to put people like you and I, as taxpayers, people that mind our own business, take care of our families. We're going to be more prone to people that's not doing that, that's got idle time to buzz up in folks' houses and carjack and sell dope and all that.
I'm not saying we can do public safety, but the police system as it stands, it's not beneficial for me because you've heard instances on folk calling like the woman who called the police and she in the house. They fucking killed her in her house. She lay there. They just shoot through the window and killed her.
Who you talking about?
The black lady. I can't remember her name, but this happened right around Breonna Taylor. The woman called the police. She was in her house, and instead of them knocking on the door, they literally shot through her window and killed her.
That wasn't Breonna Taylor.
No, it was not Breonna Taylor.
You're not talking about the girl that was out there fighting and shit with the knife.
No. This was a grown ass woman. I'm gonna tell you her name.
I don't remember that one. Because I was gonna say that Breonna Taylor shit. There was a whole lot of different shit. The boyfriend was selling dope and all this.
But whatever he was doing, what they did not have a legal right to be in that house. So whatever, he could have been selling dope and pussy out of that house that night. They had no warrant. They had no business in there. The warrant that they had was for somewhere else. So whatever he was doing in there, they had no business in there.
I can go with that. Be it as it may.
Atiana Jefferson. She was shot in Fort Worth,
Texas.
Yep. So a neighbor called on a non-emergency call saying that her front door was open. They killed that woman in her house.
Whatever happened with the case?
I don't know.
And how long ago did this happen? This about a year or two
2019.
ago? 2019.
2019.
I don't remember hearing too much about that one.
Well, first of all, that because it was a lot of shootings going on at that time. This happened right after Breonna Taylor, but you know, it was just a lot that, if you remember 2019, that was a lot of shootings involving Black folks. So you were hearing about it so often that Breonna Taylor, George Floyd, those kind of rang out just because they were so sensationalized in the media. But yeah, they talked about her in the news. It was very brief. Like she only probably got 15 minutes of play. But yeah.
What do you think about the George Floyd shit?
Um, I have a lot of feelings about the George Floyd case, and maybe because I always have on my Black Panther suit.
Okay.
I can't imagine, and I think the older I'm getting sensitive, but I can't imagine watching anybody kill this man. Like there were so many people standing around just watching. And and I'm sure that they felt helpless. But can you imagine like being there and just watching and people screaming, get off of him, but nobody really, everybody's scared for their life because fucking police, they kill people and they get off. So you have these white men that are literally, they can be taken. I mean, it's enough people to beat their ass and get them up off of them, but they're literally killing this man. And they have there's no concern that people are watching. There's no care for this man on the ground. This man is calling his mother. Mm-hmm. Like this grown big ass man calling his, like that made me want to kill them all. I'm not gonna lie, because I think about my son calling for me,
right?
And me not being able there to help me. That just I would have killed them, bitch. They would have had to kill me. They were even watching him do that. I can't imagine the rage that I felt. And I've never watched it. Like I watched pieces of it, but I told y'all the other time, like I just believe it's murder porn. So I don't watch any of it because it makes you, I think it desensitizes us, but it also makes me angry, and it makes me feel a certain way. But to have that man call for his mother, his dead mother, and there's people around watching, it's a young girl videotaping, like this is who's supposed to serve and protect us. And we're watching them do this out in the daylight in front of everybody. They're aware that there's people around them. They're antagonizing the crowd. And they killed this man, killed him, and for something that was a fucking $20 bill that wasn't even counterfeit.
It wasn't counterfeit.
It was not. It was not. But that's not a reason to die. Even if it was, that's not a reason to die. So I see time and again, like I feel like I just want to kill him. Like that's just where I am. Like I feel like that because I feel like, again, I have a right to want to feel safe. I have a right to want my children to feel safe. And when my kids do all that they're supposed to do, we all make mistakes. We all fuck up. And that's not a reason for that man to have lost his life like that. He has children. So, this is now you have a child growing up without a father. Right. People are missing their loved ones over a fucking $20 bill that really, y'all could have took his ass to jail. So,
I don't want to cut you off, but I think it's been a whole lot more Black folks that then died over less than that in Black neighborhoods by the hands of Black people. That's my main concern. I mean, with him, with a lot of these issues, because what I notice is that they're gonna usually give a lot of publicity to stuff that's allegedly racially motivated because they want to keep Black folks and white folks at odds and everything, especially with the orange motherfucker in the White House and shit. That just gave people more courage and more nuts to get out there and just act on some dumb shit. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like, those of us that's lived in Black neighborhoods, we can't sit up and turn a blind eye to what's going on, and we can't blame nobody but us. Now, we know right here in Chicago, before, during, and after George Floyd, Black folks, Black boys are being murdered. Black men are being murdered by Black people. That's my concern. I don't give a shit about this.
Well, but there's a difference though, Kennard. The difference is that we shouldn't be killing each other. Definitely.
I agree.
I don't agree with that. I don't condone that. And I think that's something that we need to fix. But
right.
when we're talking about systemically, the police, it's not just the police. We're talking about a whole fucking system that is designed to allow these folks to kill us. I'm not killing nobody.
Right.
So I expect, and not only did I not kill anybody, but I've served this country.
Indeed.
You know what I'm saying? So I should be able to walk around and do whatever the fuck I want to, when I want to. As should you. As should anybody, because that's what we're supposed to be able to do.
Are we not?
When I'm not able to do that, and when the police can harass me, when they can target me, when they can basically essentially break the law, when they can murder me, and then there's no trial, or when there is a trial, it's minimalized, or then you show, because even when you think about when they kill these black folks, they find a worst picture of these black folks. Like they find the pictures of when you was partying and just was toe down. They make you look like a degenerate. They make you look like you ain't on shit. All the shit.
Who created the picture? Because everybody else ain't doing that. I mean,
but they can dig now. I'm not going to believe that if you done killed some woman's son, she done gave you that fucked up picture with his hair not being combed and he just sitting on the porch looking like a fucking criminal. They didn't do that. That's some shit that the media has dug up. Because pictures like your hair ain't combed. Like we've all had our dusty looking days. Like, but because I'm looking dusty, that don't make me a criminal. But you know, in order to justify why the police did some shit, they'll find the grimiest picture and post the shit. Even from niggas like you been in jail for, nigga, I'm selling a DVD. They will go find that damn.
That's their job, though.
Posted. And it's from 1974. It's from 1974. I did something, and so that's my thing. Like the law is the law, and if you break the law, definitely you should get punished. But there's protocol and there's procedure, and they don't follow that. So when you talk about us killing each other in our neighborhoods, that's a problem. But when you talk about the police killing us and how the judicial system works to let these folk off, and how you have, even like in Obama's era, like this shit happened on his watch. He didn't do shit. Like I'm not impressed with him. He didn't do shit. Like he didn't do shit.
For real shit. What was he supposed to do? We know. I won't cut you off. But this is the way I see it, is that it's all business. It's never about, it's just like with Lightfoot in office. It's the same principle. Obama got in there. They had the shit with the gay marriage. Okay, that was what he was supposed to usher in, and the tranny bathrooms and all this bullshit. That's where his campaign contributions are coming from. That's who he works for. What Black people don't do is we don't come and group money together and put it behind politicians to get our demands met. Right. So then we
do put our money together and our time and our effort. We got his ass elected. And we don't follow. That's the biggest problem that we have. We get these fucking people in there. Because if you think about it, they pander. They always, all of them, Obama and everybody else, they pander to these Black churches. They go in these Black communities. They promise us the world.
Right.
And we vote for them because they need the Black vote. But then once they vote, you're absolutely right. We don't require shit of them. We don't make them. Obama, everybody, well, at least we got a Black president, but the motherfucker ain't doing shit for us. We're not.
Your signal blinked up.
Like we would have been better off voting for it.
Your signal blinking a little bit, Alicia. Like your reception's a little off. Now I can't hear you at all. Like you just froze. Hello? Hello? You froze. Can you hear me?
I hear you.
Okay. Well, now, I can hear you now. Okay, now I see you. You good.
I had to fix it. I definitely think that, even withstanding that, like definitely we have to take better care of ourselves. But when you talk about the system as it's set up, it's not designed for us and it's not designed to help us. And they've proven time and again in the last 5 years that these police can shoot. They can pretty much do whatever they want to. And until like we start tearing up shit, that's when they really wanted to like they want to make an example, but it's not. It's the same shit over and over again. So yeah, I'm concerned with us killing each other. But as a whole, when I can't walk outside of my house, like I know my neighborhood, so I know what to look out for. I know who to stay away from. You know what I'm saying? Right. But when I'm being assaulted by the police, that's not an expectation of mine. You know what I'm saying? Like the hood is the hood and the streets are the streets, and we all know the game is cold, but it's fair. You know, that's just what it is. But when I encounter a police officer that's supposed to be doing his job, my thought is not he about to come over here and fuck with me. I'm not doing nothing. I'm not breaking the law. So there should be no reason for us to have an interaction. And if we have an interaction, it should not be an unpleasant interaction. And that's not to say that all police are bad. And I don't believe that we shouldn't have any kind of structure. I just think the police, as they are known, it needs to be done away with, because I think that they're hiring a lot of cops that have fucking Napoleon issues. Like you're out here fucking bullying people. and you don't think that people can talk back to you. You don't think that people can tell you wrong. Like you think that what you say is how it's supposed to be. And if people don't like it, you can arrest me, you can assault me, you can harass me. And that's not the fucking law.
That may not be, but me personally, look, I'm looking at it like this here. If I cross paths with a cop tomorrow, I'm gonna do and say whatever it is to get you out my face, and you can go about your way. That's just me, because like I say, that's just my thought on it. I know what it's like to have guns drawn on you by 2 police officers at once. It's not a fun feeling.
I've had that done. I've had it happen. I've had it happen in Chicago.
But what I'm allowed to tell about it.
But what I'm not going to do, I agree with you. Like I'm very clear that I can't fight a gun, but what I'm not going to allow you to do, if I cross paths with a police officer and they're respectful to me, I can be respectful to you. But when we talk about the law and what I'm entitled to, you're gonna fucking respect me.
I hear you.
And it's not an argument. I'm not trying to be Billy Badass, but goddamn it, you're gonna respect me. What's your watch commander's name? Get the watch commander down. Like I don't have to do all this shit. Get your watch commander down here. We can have a whole conversation about what's going on, but I think that when we keep our heads down and try to get by, we're allowing this to happen, and it's a deterioration of our rights, because if the more that we continue to do that, the more empowered and emboldened they feel to come to our community and treat us like that. And I'm not a fucking criminal. So I'm not doing anything illegal. So talk to me with respect, and I deserve that. I'm a taxpayer, and your job is to serve and protect me. So I'm afforded at least that much courtesy.
I get that. I understand. I totally understand. Don't get me wrong. But I feel like my life is more important than rights. Fuck the rights. At the end of the day, oh, okay, you was wrong, and I'm gonna tell you was wrong, and I'm dead and gone. And at best, they may get administrative duty while they investigate it, and they may get locked up. Niggas ain't gonna ride for me. Niggas ain't gonna go out in the streets and test shit up for me. I mean, it ain't no point. See, my thing is, look, wait, hold on. I just want to say something. I'm looking at it like this here. Now, I'd have seen probably some, if not all, of the same videos you just saw when it came to cops and our people, and it'd be the same shit. It's like pressing wine on a DVD or a VHS and going back, and then niggas be getting hostile and getting loud and all this and da 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 da. Then after a while, the cops start getting loud and then da 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 da. Then they get louder. It's not going nowhere. So my thing is, I'm like, I'm not even finna put my head into that, because that's just like, to me, that's like propaganda. I'm looking like, man, that ain't gotta be me. That ain't gotta be my interaction. I believe like whatever energy you put out is what you get back. So if I'm coming on some cool shit, some positive shit, that's what the fuck I'm gonna get back. It don't make a difference who it is, for the most part. Now, there's always exceptions to the rule, but I'm not finna, like I say, look, they people just like us. That's why I look at it. And like I say, the sooner I can get you out of my face, the happier we both could be. Okay, I was speeding, I did this, okay, fine. I ain't got time to, oh man, I ain't do that. Man, I wasn't speeding. No. Who the fuck got time for this shit? I got somewhere to be.
Well, we're not, but I think when you talk about like speeding or something like that, it trivializes it, because certainly if you're pulling me over because I'm speeding or because you thought I'm speeding, like that's not what I'm talking about. Like if you come up to me and say you speeding, even if I didn't think I was speeding, okay, then give me the ticket, I'll fight it. Like that's not a big deal. But when you come up to when you come up to me and I have not broken any law, and you feel that you have a right to know where I am or ask me for my ID, I have a right to tell you no. And it's not an argument. It's not an argument. It has to do with my right as a motherfucking human being. No. And I'm not suggesting that anybody argue with it, because like I said, what I would say, call your watch commander. I want your watch commander here. Call your supervisor over here so we can have a discussion about what the law is, because you can't do this. Okay. You can't do that. Or when you talk about, you see it a lot of times too. They'll start some shit that they have no business starting, and then somebody will tell them this is the law, this, and this. They'll call their friends over there, and so now you want to intimidate me because you're wrong, instead of you just saying, my bad, I'm wrong. And then when the supervisor gets out there, the supervisor tell them, man, you can't do this shit. And they're mad because what they feel like they're entitled to. I'm the police, so I can tell you what to do, how, like they feel like they're above the law and they actually make the law. So I definitely, I'm gonna die when I'm gonna die. I don't know when I'm gonna die or whatever, but what I will not accept, and what I will not accept from myself or from any, I'm not, you're gonna respect me. You're gonna,
I
and,
know.
and I'm not a, and I don't, I'm not an argumentative person. Like, I'm gonna tell you what I'm gonna do, and I ain't gonna argue with you. But I know how to ask for the watch commander. I know how to take your badge down. I know how to do all that, and I know what my rights are. So if you feel like you want to kill me like that, motherfucker, you're gonna have to do whatever it is you're gonna do. Because only God knows when I'm gonna die. So I'm gonna stand up as a human being. I'm gonna stand up as a woman. And if somebody fucking with my child out there, you're gonna have to kill me. Because you're not gonna choke my child out in front of me. I'm gonna let loose on there some bitch out there
Fair enough.
until somebody knock me down. But I'm gonna take a few of them with me, because I think that's part of the problem too. There's not all police are bad police, but I believe that those police that are doing these bad things, you're not a good cop because you don't participate in it. If you're watching them do this shit and
Just,
you're allowing it and you don't report it, you're a fucking bad cop too.
right.
So anybody that's out here watching this shit and they don't report it, they don't put a stop to it, then you can get it too. But I think until we start killing these folk like they're killing them, they'll stop it, because right now there's no consequence. I don't feel like there's enough of a consequence to them for them to not do what they're doing, or for them to think twice or take a step back and say, how can I better handle this? And then I think that too, they're not training they're these guys that they're putting in our communities. Had no relationship with people of color. They don't know anything about us. They don't think they know about us is from the news. So
Mhm.
they come into the situation thinking that we're fucking animals. They
Yeah,
come into the
yeah.
situation with these preconceived notions. So when they see us, they're naturally scared, and they're not being trained. They're not being trained properly. I think that we definitely need people that look like us in our communities, and I definitely think that we need beat cops like we used to have. Like, there should be, if you want to, I don't even want to call them police, but if you want to have law enforcement walking around in these neighborhoods, getting to know the neighborhood. Like, I remember growing up, we had police officers that knew my grandmother, that knew the people you knew the kids, you knew. So it wasn't like, okay, I'm just gonna slap you up and take you to jail, nigga. I'm about to go tell your mama. I know where your mom is. Come here, let me, but it's none of that. Everything is impersonal, impersonal, impersonal. That's the correct word.
For intrapersonal. Is
In,
it interpersonal?
impersonal, impersonal.
Okay.
Everything is impersonal, and I think that we want to do away with race and stereotypes, and by nature, by where we live, like, we all have prejudice. Like, I have prejudice. Like, we live, that's where we live in a society that breeds that. So we breed that. But by no stretch of the imagination am I saying, when the police stop me, just we gonna argue and motherfucker, I'm gonna square up with you. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying in some instances you're gonna fucking respect me, or you're gonna have to kill me. And I'm a firm believer in, you're gonna respect me. You're gonna treat me like a human being,
Right.
especially when I'm not doing anything wrong. And if you gotta kill me, then you're gonna have to kill me. But I think if enough of us feel that way, and we come together and like do legislation, and even like what the Black Panthers did, like, y'all gonna have to do something.
Right.
Y'all can't fight us all, but at some point, I can't just stand up by myself. It's gonna take a lot of us to say, you can't even like forming shit that we had in our community. You can't come in our community and do this shit. We're
Right.
watching you. We're gonna police the police, and they don't even want to do that. Like in the city of Chicago, they don't even want to have. I think they got one now
They got
where
caps.
where the citizens.
Yeah, citizens accountability thing.
Right, but you don't see them citizens in our communities. Like, who the fuck are these citizens?
Well, see, here's the other side too that you got to factor in as well. Now, I talked to my wife about this. We talked about it for shit, who knows how long. But anyway, as far as the police exam, now I took it, shit. I took it out in Madison. I took it in Chicago Heights. Did not pass. I ain't the smartest motherfucker in the world. I ain't the best tester in the world either. But I said, fuck it, I'll give it a shot. Didn't pass. So anyway, the test is fucking hard. So now, if and then another thing is, probably ain't a lot of us that's applying to be police officers. See, and that's probably why you don't see a lot of our black police officers in black neighborhoods, because a lot of black cops don't exist. See, this has been an ongoing thing. You see what I'm saying? Now, the only other thing that they could try to do is try to like adjust the test to where it would be a little bit easier so you could get more applicants in. But even
Well,
if you did that,
now you have to have a bachelor's degree now to
right,
take
right. That's another thing that weed people out. Now, I don't have a bachelor's.
I think it's more so that bachelor's degree, because you have a lot of black men that want to test. I've had friends that want to test, but they don't have that degree. And then by the time they get the degree, they're too old to even apply.
Right. So then at the minimum, you gotta have a bachelor's. So if they took that off, it still doesn't guarantee that you're gonna get more black people applying for that job, because again, we in the great what is it called? Damn, I keep forgetting the name of it. It's called the Great Resignation. That's what they call this era. So with that being said, like we got, like right here in Chicago, it was just on the news about a week or two ago, where a lot of cops don't want to take the COVID shot. So they got them on non-paid leave status, and a lot of them are getting ready to retire, which in turn is going to weaken your police force, which also in turn is going to boost your crime rates. So you got this element staring you right in the face. Now, as it stands, they hadn't did anything to say, okay, well, you don't have to have a bachelor's. All you got to have is this, and this. They still have the same standards for the police test. So that means that if people with bachelor degrees aren't even going to apply, and the people that don't have them ain't going to apply, you're going to have a thin, stretched out, overworked police force like you already have. If you remember with the riots, they was talking about the cops was doing shit, 15-hour shifts, no days off. So they already tired. See what I'm saying? So who is that putting, who's going to be most at risk in the city of Chicago because of that? Black people.
Well, yeah, but I also think, I don't think that we can talk about one without the other. Like, there's also a lack of jobs. There's an actual lack of resources.
No, I disagree. Not now.
You can disagree, but there is, and that was pre-COVID. So when COVID came around, you had a lot of people that were laid off, that did not have jobs. When the riots came, they didn't have those resources. They didn't come out there. If you think about when those riots came, they took their ass downtown. They protected downtown. They did not protect our community. I got a house on 91st and Cottage. They tore up 87th and Cottage, and what they sensationalized was a bunch of black folks tearing up. But you know how many Mexicans and white folks was out there? Plenty.
Mm-hmm.
Plenty. They didn't talk about that. And so when you talk about crime, when you talk about, like, I wouldn't even talk about black and white here. I'm talking about poor and desperate. Like, you got people that can't pay their rent. You got people that can't fucking eat. Guess what, nigga? I might sell some dope. I sell some dope. If it's between me and my kids being homeless and not having and selling dope, bitch, I'm gonna have to take the chance of going to jail, because that's just, those are things that you have to have in order to survive. You have to have, and then if you think about, as old as we are, like, security is very important to us, right? But you think about people that during pre-COVID, people were, kind of stretched out. But when you talk about after COVID, you're talking about people, there's a lot of people that did not have any kind of security, not job security, not house security, and that's why they put all the stuff in place for them not to be put out of their houses. And we talk about electricity being turned off, water being turned off. Like, those are things that we take for granted. But when you talk about just on a basic level, those needs are not being met. Yeah, nigga, they angry. Yeah, they're upset.
I get that.
And then you hear these people, when white people start getting unemployment, they called it joblessness. They changed the word from unemployment to, it was jobless insurance, or some shit to make it sound fancy, but it was unemployment.
Yeah.
Right. But it was unemployment when we were receiving it, but they changed it. So you have all these people that, and then remember, unemployment, they had all this fraud and stuff. So some people couldn't even get their unemployment. It was taking them months to get it. So you're battling with all this shit. People are angry. People are tired. And then you're being treated like you're asking for a handout. I pay into this. I paid into this all my life. And so my expectation is, when I need help me. And that's not what, so I think that even when you talk about even the police officers, like, they were fucking tired of it, because a lot of the police officers that were out there that were actually trying to do good, they were overworked. But they also have relatives that are stretched out, stretched thin, losing homes. Like, that's a lot to lose your house. I I think about like at 47, as old as I am, like to not have somewhere to live, not to be sure where I'm gonna lay my head. Like I can get it from the mud when I was 19, 20. At 47, that's to me, that's asking a lot. That's asking a lot to have to start over from scratch in that kind of way. And so a lot of people had to do that. And I'm fortunate enough to have my children there taking care of themselves. But you have people that are not only talking about themselves, but also their children. So people are angry, people are frustrated. And then you had an administration that really was ineffective. You have, all the branches. Like I don't believe in that Democrat Republic shit. They were all doing the same shit. They were all jerking each other around trying to get what they wanted and fucking the American people over all together because we're gonna prove this if you do this. So they were essentially playing with our money and our livelihood because they were trying to get other legislation passed. So you're gonna have a bunch of angry people, a bunch of people who are, they what else, if I don't have a house, I don't have anything else to eat. What the fuck else I got to lose? What I don't have shit else to lose at this point. So
Yeah.
Let's go. And I think that's a big problem, part of the problem in the hood. People don't have anything to lose. So if I don't have shit else to lose, why not?
I think, but you know what? I think as far as like the looters and all that, them was young folks. You didn't catch too many people our age and older than us out in the streets looting and all this shit. So them was just young folks taking the opportunity to tear their own neighborhoods up, and they allow Mexicans and white people and everybody else to come in and tear their shit up while they go back to their neighborhoods. Now, if you remember over on 26th Street, the Mexicans, they wasn't having that. Now, see, they didn't care your neighborhood.
It was on 63rd. They were on 63rd Street cutting up like that too. They was shooting on California. They were shooting any black person that came over that threshold. It was a problem.
And can you knock them for that? Because now you done let them up in your neighborhood. It's all good. They done tore up Madison, Pulaski, they did all this. But try that over there where they stay at. See, black folks, we too gullible for the bullshit in instances like that. And then these same niggas, I done went on there and say motherfuckers in my feed was bragging on all the shit, the shoes and the Jordans and shit that they got. And y'all condone this shit. Now what happens when your grandmother or your father, your mother, whoever need to go get some meds and they can't go because Walgreens got looted? And that's the closest Walgreens. You see what I'm saying? So this is what I be talking about. We do the most damage to ourselves. And even when even going into the whole thing with the police killing us, we are killing us at a way higher rate than any cops could, because the cops just work there. We live there 24/7. We out there, all they had to do was take and put a couple of guns out there and put some drugs out there, and that's all. Niggas will suck it up because black folks love when the government or whoever else give a shit. We don't give a fuck what it is. We'll take it and we gonna work with it. So that's why niggas is fucking drinking cough syrup now, because they put that out there for you. They taking fucking Xanax and all these other weird ass drugs on top of the normal shit because they put that out there for you. See, this is
but don't. So with that, don't exclude white folks because it's way more white folk doing that than we are. And that's why they're doing legislation now when they're talking about opioid addiction, because when it affects white folk, then it's a problem.
It's a problem, of course.
I agree with you wholeheartedly. Like we need to do better. I think we have failed our people. We failed our children. And definitely when you talk about guns and shit, like the government put that shit in there. And I am a strong believer that while we think that we was tearing up our own community, them folks was putting some of that shit in the community. Because I don't know how much you know about what they're trying to do in Chicago, but they're trying to get our black asses, like especially like on the South Side, they want all our asses gone. So, but you have a lot of black people, older black people that own their homes and can afford their taxes, so they can't get them out anyway. So now you want to create all this crime. So they pushing people into those situations to scare off those folks so they can get that property back because it's close to the lake,
real estate,
close to downtown, and it's close to the expressway. I do commend those people that went and tore up downtown. I appreciated that. I respected that.
But you know what I
did.
think?
I did.
Why you feel that way about it?
Because just for what you said, don't tear up shit. Like at the end of the day, when you tear up 87th, when you tear up Cicero and Pulaski, your grandmother fucking shops there, your mother shop. Like those are our stores. That's where we have to go to eat. That's where we, that's our community. Downtown ain't our fucking community. So y'all want to tear up some shit? You want to hit somebody to make it count? Hit those stores down there because those people got money and they're gonna make noise about why that shit is going on. They gonna want you to stop that shit. They gonna want you to do something about it. Tear up their shit. Hell yeah, tear up their shit.
But see, that's for the residents. That's for the residents. I understand you there. But the other side of the coin, no. The other side of the coin is the people that's working downtown. Good example, my wife works downtown. They could have went down there to her building down. Now she out of work. See what I'm saying? So that's the problem I had with motherfuckers out there tearing up businesses. Because quiet as kept us a lot. Well, not quiet, but a lot of us are working in those businesses. Now, it's so-and-so over here. Or it could have been some, matter of fact, I can't remember where it was at. It might even been with the George Floyd thing, where it was a black business owner. He's trying to protect a black business and another black person came and killed him. And they got it on tape. Oh man, they sitting up there with the camera. You all right, OG? You all right? You all right? A black dude taping it. Another black dude shot another black man trying to protect a black business. I said, that's pretty much, that sums everything up right there. So now, in the midst of all the rioting, we didn't even think to even preserve our shit because we're too busy looking for the quick come up, or we could sell this online. We could sell this on this.
Let's differentiate, because now there were niggas that were rioting.
Okay, well, true indeed, it was some niggas.
All right, cool. Right. So we're not talking about the people that was there tearing up shit so they could get the new Jordans, or so they could pillage and plunder.
Right.
We talking about, like, I could definitely, like, at the end of the day, like, I feel like we're so concerned. We're concerned with a lot of shit that we shouldn't be.
Like what?
Okay, if I'm tearing up downtown because I'm sick of the injustice and I want to make a point and I'm trying to get their attention, that's the place to do it. And if we don't want nobody out of the job, but if that's a small fraction of the cost, if it's gonna mean they're gonna pay attention to what we're saying and do something about it. Like I just appreciate the fact that those people that went downtown Chicago, they were not tearing up their neighborhoods. They were not tearing up their grocery stores. They weren't tearing up anything that they had to get up in the morning and go to. And if you think about how they tore up downtown, there was a whole lot of press. Think about how long they stayed on downtown Chicago after they tore that shit up.
I saw that shit too, but I'm looking at it like this. Now, my thing is, all colors aside, I have empathy for people that get up and earn a living for themselves, in particular, people that punch a clock, just like I do. You know what I'm saying? And to know that one day you working amid this pandemic or during the pandemic, whatever, and then now here they came up in there and just burned down your place of work. You have no union, you have no nothing. This is where you fed your family at. You didn't have nothing to do with none of what happened, but now you gotta suffer. Now what do? How do you explain this? What are you supposed to do about your children? These are a bunch of kids that wasn't working any fucking way. These are a bunch of niggas that wasn't working any fucking way. 10 to 1 that was out here doing it. Because the niggas is the ones that got time for this bullshit. If you working motherfucking 10 hours a day, you ain't gonna come off no 10-hour shift to go downtown and fucking loot. You ain't got time or patience for that shit.
Again, but I'm not condoning. I'm not talking about the niggas. We're not talking about the niggas.
Okay.
Because I don't agree with niggas. I don't do nigga stuff.
I'm with you there. I agree.
Nigga stuff. But I set something up to prove a point.
Okay.
And so, I mean, definitely, like, I remember during the pandemic, I worked every fucking day. Even during the riots, I worked. And what sat on me and what I remember the most is like crying that day after, having to roll down, because I work on 63rd in California.
Okay.
Watching all those businesses, looking at because 63rd Street, I don't know if you're familiar with 63rd Street.
Yeah.
63rd Street fucking raggedy anyway.
Yeah.
From the Dan Ryan on down, going back west, it's fucking raggedy. So after the rioting, I saw business on, they weren't even black, but Arabs. Like they tore up these stores and
Yep.
just the poverty, the destitution, just like like even on 87th in the little strip mall, the little stores that were left, it was so disheartening to me because it was already a torn up community. And I knew that they tore up that shit and that's not gonna get fixed. Downtown they're gonna fix because that's a
Right.
tourist attraction. But those places where people really and that's not to say that a business downtown is less or more than a business in the hood, but I know for certain that if those people didn't have insurance, the government wasn't gonna come in there and fix none of that shit back
No,
up.
they would have been did it.
They wasn't. Right, exactly. So that shit stayed like that for months.
But
It stayed like that.
but just to add into what you said, it kind of coincides with the white people taking Chicago back. Because put it this way, if they don't replace what's there, and say it was a CVS or Walgreens, and say it was a grocery store, the shit that you really need, and all of that shit got torched in the riots. Well, then now you basically in a food desert, you have nothing there. Now you got to take your money and your resources and put them in another community to get the things you need. Well, how long that's gonna last before you say, man, fuck this shit, I'm finna move. And then wait. And then wait. Now you raise the taxes up because now you got this inflation shit going on. So of course the taxes are gonna go up. So now, on top of which, now the taxes didn't raise up. Now we gotta go 5-6 miles away from the house to get basic shit. I mean, fuck this. I can go over here to Indiana. I can go over here to the South Burbs and everything is there. So that kind of coincides. There's no reason for them to go and try to rebuild these areas because they're trying to take them back anyway. So if we do go and invest in just like in Inglewood, in Inglewood right now, it's $1 million homes in Inglewood. In fucking Inglewood, all this shooting going on. And niggas don't say 2 words about it because they don't see what's happening right in front of them. They taking all this shit back. All of it.
You don't think that that's government orchestrated?
Of course it is. We know it is.
And to be clear, like when you talk about food deserts, them fucking food deserts been there. I remember growing up on 79th Street. I swear that on 79th and Jeffrey, there was a grocery store. A grocery store. There was a grocery store.
Okay.
There you had restaurants, you had gas stations, you had liquor stores, you had beauty shops. Like you didn't have to go outside that neighborhood. What essentially started happening is those aldermen, when those older people started dying off, they started selling those properties, letting them build 2 and 3 liquor stores in the community. From Jeffrey to Stony, why we need 5 liquor stores? And even when you talk about CVS and Walgreens, like if it ain't no liquor store, you got a CVS and a Walgreens right across from each other. Why?
Right.
They don't build grocery stores. It's intended. Those things are intentional, and they are intentional because white folks do want the city back. They want the city back, and they want to push us into the suburbs where they can cut off the bus system, and but they do want the city back. So when you talk about wanting the city back and the food deserts and the food and everything else, even like when you talk about the Arabs have a very poor relationship with us in our community. Most of them sell bad meat, bad produce, but that's all that you have. So if you don't have a car and you don't have bus money, that's where the fuck you go to get your food.
Yep. And you're gonna pay over for it.
Exactly. Yep. And you're on a fixed income. So we're talking about elders that may not have anybody to take them. So this shit is designed by the government because they're trying to make you uncomfortable. They're trying to kill us to get, if they can't get you to move out, I'm gonna kill you with the food. I'm gonna kill you with the medication. Like, why is medication so high? So I don't think it's just a matter of us killing each other and not understanding. It's deeper than that. When did we start shooting each other on the fucking expressway?
Well, see, that kind of contributes to it because of this, is because they put those images, the news have a tendency to put out the bad shit. We know this.
Yeah.
And they put those images out there. Well, black folks is watching the news too, and we can see, oh man, well, they shooting in Inglewood again. They're shooting on the west side again. Oh man. And just imagine the residents there. With the type of anxiety that they might have. Not only just the shit that they see, but the shit they may hear in their neighborhood. Gunshots once a week, twice a week, whatever. Okay, well, how much more are you gonna take before you say, you know what, fuck this, I can't take this no more. I'm gonna get up out of here. You see what I'm saying? So that's a contributing factor, and as far as getting Black people out of Chicago, so they could come in and build what they want to build. So that way, the only way my mother said this shit when I was in high school, and this has been proven to be right. It's gonna come a point in time that you ain't gonna be able to get in Chicago unless you work there or you live there. It's gonna be one of the two.
True, but that's what's going on now. And that's why when I moved this year, I didn't sell my house. I'll never sell my house because I know what my house is going to be worth. I know exactly what they're doing. And you're not going to be able, if you don't own anything in Chicago now, by the time they finish with it, you're not going to be able to own anything in it, period. You're not. My property taxes have went up 4 times in the past year and a half, 4 fucking times. No rhyme, no reason. They ain't did shit new. They ain't fixing up nothing. It's just went up. So when we talk about, like, definitely, I think the Black community collectively, we need to get together and we need to stop letting, I think we have a lot of issue with letting the media dictate who our leaders are. Because they tell us who we supposed to listen to. And, no disrespect to C.R.T, just like y'all motherfuckers, they out of touch. They're out of touch. And I don't know who their constituency is, but it's not us. Like, it's not us. And I think we need to get back to, I think desegregation. Integration was the worst thing that could have happened to us, because with all that came, they want to take our dollars and they made us kind of dependent on them for a whole lot of shit where we were creating jobs. And I think that we definitely need to get back to that. And we need to get back to disciplining our children and taking control of our households and those things. Like, we lived by a certain code. And I think that we started intermingling with others and their code became our code. And it don't work for us. It does not. And I think that we failed our children. The one thing that I do, and I've said this several times, the one thing I love about this generation now, they don't give a fuck. Like, they're not scared of shit. And if we can channel that into a positive way, they're going to be the game changers for us. Like, they're going to change a lot of shit if we can channel them in a way that's going to be positive. Because they're not stuck on a career. They're not stuck on, like, I'm going to work a job for 20 years and retire. Like, I see a lot of young kids that want to have their own businesses, they're thinking outside of what we were taught normally. So I think we need to toward them and do something better. But essentially, I think that our generation and our parents' generation, like, we're failing our youth. We're fucking failing them.
I think there's kind of 2 parts to that. It's because you have some parents that are negligent to their children and irresponsible people that just so happen to be parents. And then the other side is, if you're out here working every day, you work in 10-hour shifts, 12-hour shifts, that doesn't allow a lot of time to take control of what's going on in your house. See what I'm saying? So the kids is just buck wild like a motherfucker. And then plus on top of that, you got these new rules now. You can't whoop your kid in public. You can't do this, you can't do that. So that's not even, that's not helping. But at the same time, I feel like this, if, you supposed to control your shit. These are your kids. Goddamn it. Ain't no excuse. You know what I'm saying? If you teach the kids respect, you know what I'm saying, and your kids fear you, respect you, and love you, they're gonna know. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna know how to act. They're gonna know what to do. They're gonna know what not to do. But see, it's so easy now. Like, motherfuckers want to just be cool with their kids, and that when you cool, I'm not gonna have the same respect for a motherfucker that I'm friends with compared to a person that's a parent or a person that's something along those lines, because it's a whole different connection there. And so that's what we down, and that may have worked for white people. See, a lot of this shit, everything we get is from white people, everything. You see what I'm saying? Because we out of tune with our shit. you know,
Mhm.
and it's a fucked up situation because it's like, man, it'd be great if we could unify, but we too petty and childish and too self-centered to even think that far, let alone put money together to try to get some real shit done.
Well,
Motherfucker.
I think we have to remember that that 400 years affected us. So you can't just all of a sudden, like, we ain't that far out of Jim Crow. We ain't that far out of segregation. Like, that shit still sticks with us. You know what I'm saying? Like, my grandmother is still living.
Right.
My great grandma, like I was alive for my great grandparents. So I'm literally like, we're but like what, 3-4 generations removed from fucking slavery. So when you think about that 400 years and what that entailed and what that bred into us, into our great grandparent, like, that's gonna take some shedding. That's gonna take some time. So I think a lot of times, like, just us being selfish and niggardly, like, we have to learn how to connect back to what we have to recognize that it's a problem, and that we have to work real hard on, like, shedding that issue.
Yeah, because you know what I mean. We I think integration kind of gave us the deception that we can have what they got,
Mm-hmm.
and we content with the idea of getting what they got. So what do? We go out and we buy more shit that they got, which in turn is making them rich and keeping us in the hood,
Right.
us in the ghetto and all this. And we don't see it because we content with more of what they own.
Yeah.
Not owning the company, not owning the name or none of that. We just content with just, okay, I got a Cadillac. I got, we were talking about fur coats earlier. I got this, I got that. So I don't like to go back as far as slavery because I'm not taking anything away from slavery at all. But I know as a man, as an individual, I choose. I chose everything in my life. I chose.
Yeah, you probably had that perception that you did,
No,
but
no, no. I chose the
you
shit
might
right
have
or
that
wrong.
perception. You
No,
you
no,
might have
no, 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 no. Didn't nobody put me where I didn't want to be. I chose everything, good or bad, right or wrong. Even with the military, I chose that too. I chose the shit before that. You know what I'm saying? When I was in a position to make decisions, I made decisions. Now, the problem with us is we make fucked up decisions.
everybody makes that's not
But
exclusive to us.
right. I'm not, it's
Not
not an
exclusive to
excuse.
us.
It's not an excuse, but the thing is, we're not
I'm not saying
learning
it's not
from.
exclusive to us.
Right, well, it's not, you're right. Everybody, you're absolutely right. Everybody does. But with us, the shit hit harder because we already divided. We have no sense of community. We have no sense of togetherness in our own homes. You got beefs and shit with this sibling don't like that sibling. The mother don't like the father. The brother don't like the sister. We got to get shit together on the
But
inside first.
you don't think that has something to do with slavery?
Absolutely not. Because unless you personally experienced it, you still got a choice. You
Okay,
got a
but
choice.
how many generations are we outside of slavery?
I'd say about 6.
Okay, 5 or 6. Okay, so I'm 4 generations. I got 4 generations living right now, right? So that means that we're only 2 generations. I say 5, but I'll give you a 6. So 2 generations that are dead. So we got 4. So that means that my grandmother, my daughter's great grandmother, experienced some of that, right? And my mother experienced some of that. So you're still not as far removed from that shit. Because even if we're talking about six generations removed from slavery, we still got the after slavery, we still got Jim Crow, we still got all that. So 6 generations outside of slavery, but we still got these other 4 right now that are here. So at some point that has affected us some kind of way.
Explain to me how it's affected us, though, because that's like saying that, okay, well, you froze up. I don't know if you can hear me or not, Alicia. You froze. I give you a couple of minutes because you froze up. Hello? Hello? Hello, hello, hello. I don't know. You got to do something on your end because you froze on this end. I can't hear you, and your screen is frozen. Okay, well, I'll just have a sip till you get it together. Hello? Oh, well, we're going to have to try that again. It hung up. Let me try to send you the link again. Okay. Participants. Da 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 da. Oh, okay, there you go. Welcome back. Okay, there you go. Nah, I can't hear you. Hold on. Say again. Lisa's connecting to audio and can't hear you yet. Okay, so it still say your audio is connecting. I still don't hear you. It's gonna probably take a minute or two.
There you are.
There you go. Perfect. Okay, I was gonna have me a little smidgen, while you was.
Hey, you done had a couple of smidgens now. You had a couple of smidgens, brother.
It's show night. It's Tuesday night. What you sipping on over there?
Tequila and orange juice. I got to keep my vitamin C since it's getting the fall, so I got to make sure I get my vitamin C in.
I know that's right. Shit, I ain't mad at you. Go get you some of that conjugal visit.
No, I'm scared of that. I thought about you. I thought about you the other night. I was like, I'm gonna go buy some. I was like, nah. You gonna have my ass butt naked on the patio. That's a lie. You a lie,
no, I'm gonna wait till like the weekend or some shit. Like when I know I'm off the next day, then I'm gonna fuck with it. Cause it's downstairs. I just ain't. I like my whiskey. Whiskey my thing. Whiskey. I know how whiskey's set on me. You know what I'm saying?
Whiskey makes me want to fight. So I'm not a big I like vodka and tequila I can drink, but anything brown, I get real indignant.
Nah, see, for me, like I stopped fucking with the vodka. I used to love vodka and cranberry. I used to love it. It was the perfect combination. I came home one time. I was coming from Martini Bar. Anyway, I'm coming home, and I had just dozed off, and I almost hit a pole.
Oh.
Yeah, almost. So from that night forward, I said I can't do this no more. That was it for me. And then I started fucking with whiskey.
Oh, you didn't stop drinking. You just switched up your drink.
I just switched the drink up. And see, I never had that problem with this shit. Now, this has been about a good, I don't know, maybe 6-7 years, something like that. I've been cool with the whiskey joints. So I'll do my Crown, and I know how it's going to set. I know how I'm going to feel the next day. I'm good with this, and that's what I fuck with.
And I've been to start the bar fight off some Crown. Somebody been coming to bail me out of jail. I don't even know that. Now I know how to start the fight somewhere.
I know but for me, it's cool. Like I said, I don't put no ice in it or nothing. I just pour it up. I have my little sip. I don't need no chaser. I don't need none of that. Just give me the
because you were playing.
I mean, you know.
That's some player shit, That's some player shit.
No, but it's cool. It's my type of drink. It ain't too hard. It ain't too soft. You feel it, but it's not like, oh, it's hard to drink. It's smooth. So Crown is my shit. I got a matter of fact, I'm low now. I gotta give me another one.
You gotta go get you another smidgen.
Yeah, because all other shit I ain't fucking with. Like I fuck with some bourbon. It's some shit I bought. Douglas and Todd, and I can't think of the name of the other one. But I bought up the street. I'm gonna go get some more of those. Now those are bourbons. Bourbon's a little more rough, but you don't have to drink as much. So that's cool. So I'm gonna go and get some. I'm gonna get 2 more of those, and then I'm gonna get what I normally fuck with. But I like the bourbons too. Like I'm getting into bourbon. So that's a whiskey.
That's an old man drink. That's an old man. I like it
though. It's hard. You drinking. Like this shit you don't really know because you've been, I'm used to this. But with that shit, you drinking. Like, yeah, this is alcohol. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I like it.
Why though? Why I gotta know that I'm drinking alcohol? Why?
It's just that's the point to me. Like I don't want nothing up in there to fuck it up. Like when you put a chaser into some shit, it's like, oh, I'm drinking fruit juice that just so happen to have alcohol in it. I don't want that shit. No, give me some. I want the real shit.
Just get indignant about that.
I'm dead ass. Like that's. It's like, okay, this is for real. Like, okay, I got a little pop here. I got a little Mountain Dew. I'm gonna pour that in there. I don't want that shit. No, that's 2 separate things. I don't want to mix them. I want the liquor for the liquor and then the pop for the pop. You see what I'm saying? I think you froze up again. Your signal bad tonight. I'm gonna give you a minute. Wait, hold on. I can hear you a little bit. And then you went back out. Take your time. I don't know what happened, but I don't know. Yeah, you froze up. Hello, hello, hello. Hello. There you go. Okay, I see you now. I can't hear you. Not yet. It'll probably take a couple minutes for the audio to kick in.
I don't know what's going on. Yeah, can
I hear you now. Wait, hold on.
I don't know what's going on with my internet today.
It's weird. I don't know. I mean, happens to the best of us.
Mine don't never act up.
Well, it's just, it's just, I can't explain it. I mean, I don't know. Did you freeze again? I think you froze again. Wait, hold on. Okay, there you go.
I'm here.
Say again?
I'm here.
Okay, well, I think it looked like it's trying to work, but I don't know if you're here or not. Can you hear me?
I'm trying to get my internet strong. Okay, can you hear me now?
I hear you now. I say your bandwidth is low. That's what it say on there. It say Alicia Ali's network bandwidth is low.
They better mind their damn business. Hold on, I'm about to change networks. Give me 1 minute.
Take your time. Amazon lifts mass rule for vaccinated workers. They know they on some bullshit. They need motherfuckers to work. They looking for anybody. They hiring fucking felons and shit. They don't give a fuck.
Who?
Amazon. I didn't hear what you said. I think he froze up a little bit. Like, we don't wear no fucking masks.
Who don't wear masks?
They saying the Amazon lifts a mask mandate or whatever the fuck it was. You look, motherfuckers is trying to get this mail out and the parcels out. Ain't nobody got time to be dealing with no fucking mask. You better be trying to get as many people as you can up in there because it's gonna be rough. Come, look, a month from now, it's gonna be fucked up. Because everybody's ordering online. Motherfuckers ordering everything you could think of online. And Amazon finna get hit, and then plus we get Amazon shit too. It's gonna be bad. Especially if you ain't got the proper staff for it. It's gonna be real bad. Watch. It's gonna be motherfuckers out here 10 at night delivering packages. Every night. Just watch.
I think that's the purpose of it though.
No. If you had the proper staff, you would see the thing is, we talk about endangering people. You got people out there in the snow, in the cold at 10 at night. That ain't safe. You know what I'm saying? Motherfucker that been at this. Huh?
I agree.
But this is what they're gonna have to do because they short like everybody else is short. You can offer a motherfucker $100 an hour. People still ain't finna come get that job. That's where we at today because they petty. Shit.
I don't think people are petty. I think people are. I don't think people are petty. I think people are scared. People are really scared. Like you have a lot of people that are really they're scared of the vaccine and they're scared of COVID. Period. And you can roll your eyes, but I'm telling you, I'm telling you, as a healthcare worker, as listening to people, like people are really, and when you watch that stuff, like I remember when COVID first hit, I would watch the news all day, every day.
Me too. Yeah.
I was watching the news so much that I started having an anxiety, and I didn't realize that I was having this anxiety. But like everything in my world, like I wasn't scared of COVID. Like I've never been scared of catching COVID, but it was just that fear that they played all day long, every day, and it started making me anxious. So you have a lot of people that are still watching this news and they're getting anxious because now they're talking about a fourth shot, a fourth booster. So you have these people, and now they're talking about pre-existing conditions, and it's a lot of people in the United States that have health issues.
Right.
So people are scared, and then you don't know what's in this vaccine. People are scared of the vaccine. People are scared of catching COVID. People are scared to come outside. I still see people walking around with fucking masks on and gloves. It just blows. Like the mask don't bother me, but them damn gloves that you touch everything, it bothers me to no end. People do that because they're terrified, and so fear is not rational. It's not. It's not. So you have a lot of these jobs that people don't want because they're scared that they're going to get COVID. And once I get COVID, or once they mandate, because a lot of people are walking off the job because they're mandating vaccines. Once you do that, then what's going on is people are having a visceral reaction to COVID. And I think that fear is leading the charge in why people are not going to these jobs and why people are in the condition that they're scared.
Well, the government is to blame for the fear, because and the media, more especially the media, because this is all they talk about every day. X amount of deaths, and then now you got the new variant. There's another new variant out there, and then they're talking about this and that, making it mandatory here, there, wherever, And like I say, in all honesty, I took, and I was off on a Saturday, which is rare. But I just so happened to see the president talking about it. And in all honesty, I said, man, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to go get this shot. Because, and now mind you, the post office hadn't made it a mandatory vaccine. Mm-hmm. But I just got tired of the back and forth. And I have fear to this extent that if I don't go and get it, the last thing I need is to come to work. And they say, well, did you get vaccinated? Oh, well, you can't come to work. Now, maybe that was ignorant on my part. But I'm still here. I went and got the 2 shots. My wife got 2 shots. So did my parents. I did not want the shot.
I think that's most of people's problem. Like, you didn't get the shot because you thought it was a good thing for you to have health-wise. No. You got it out of fear of your job. And so with me and a lot of other people, that's my issue. Like, I don't knock anybody for getting a shot. If you made that decision for you and you think that's a good decision for you, that's one thing. But I think that it's fucking bullying. It's bullying to tell somebody that either you get this, you inject this into your body, or you lose that job. Like, that's fear. That's fear on a whole nother level, because you still have to eat. And we just talked about wanting to feel secure and having security and being our age and not having that security. So you're threatening my security if I don't do this, but you really shouldn't have even a right to ask me to inject anything to my body. So even your decision was not really your own. That wasn't a decision that you made based off a health decision. That was based off your fucking livelihood. And to me, that's tantamount to bullying you, because it's not fair. I don't think it's fair to ask somebody to make that kind of decision, because what if that vaccine doesn't agree with you and they don't know enough about that vaccine to know what it's going to do to you or how it's going to affect you, on top of the fact that now they're saying that you may need 1 or 2 more boosters.
Right. So the 2 you already got.
Right. So I mean, when you look at that, that's my issue, that fear that they're perpetuating onto Americans in general. Like, you don't take the shot, you don't get a job. You don't get to eat if you don't take the shot. You don't get to do this if you don't take that shot. And like you said, what if I walk into work and say, oh, you can't work because you don't have a vaccine?
Right.
That means I have to go home and possibly not be paid. So now the way that I live, me just having basic shit, is now at jeopardy. And now I have to choose between something that may be harmful to me, I don't know, it may or may not, or eating. And so I'm going to take that chance and risk something that may be a detriment to me so that I can make sure that I have what I'm supposed to have. And I just don't knock anybody for getting it, but I think that everybody should have that. They should have their autonomy to make their own decision. And I think right now the government is trying to take that away from people. And I'm like really proud of the people that are standing up and saying, I'll fucking quit my job, because I don't think that it's right. I don't think this government's place to tell me to inject anything in my body because you think it's a good idea.
I get that too, but then at the same time, you got a family to feed. So what do? I mean, there's plenty of other jobs right now at the moment that you can go to, but they may or may not pay the money that you was making at your previous job. Like we talk about with the nurses and all this, they talking about Xing all them out if they didn't go get the vaccine. Now these are the people that were saving lives and all this, and you fucked them over. Same with the police. These are the people that was out there during the riots and all this, working 15-hour shifts. You fucked them over. So that's, I think all of this is leading to a really bad place. I mean, I see some videos and shit about depopulation and all this. And that's what it would turn to, is because if you don't have enough nurses, then you can't save enough lives. In addition to the people that's getting the COVID and dying from it. You know what I'm saying?
Or people will start creating their, because a nurse, you can create your own clinic. Like people will start creating their own things, but definitely I agree with you. Like as a nurse myself, like I headed up the COVID clinic and the vaccine clinic. Like I help implement policies and procedures, strategies. I literally have a video where I'm out in the snowstorm, in the blizzard, giving vaccine. And I'm giving it to the people that want it. If I don't want it, I've survived COVID for fucking damn near 2 years.
Yeah.
If I don't want to take it, that should be my choice. And like you said, it's insulting to the nurses, to the people that's been on the forefront this whole time, to tell them you're gonna fucking lose your job, because when there was no one else, there was us.
Right.
Here, there was us being asked to do impossible things for an undetermined amount of time, and then you turn on us and tell us, well, if you don't do this, this is gonna happen. I applaud, like, definitely they have a right, like people have a right to think about their livelihood. So I would never claim to make a decision about what they should or shouldn't do. But those who walked off those jobs, like, I definitely applaud them, because that's courage, because you don't know what's going to happen next. You don't know how this is going to turn out. But definitely when you talk about making a decision that is best for you, that's some balls to, like, say, I'm going to do what I think is best for me. And people are not saying it because they're rebellious. It's just they believe that it's not the best thing for them. And it's not right to ask me to do those things that I don't want to do. And certainly, like, even like you said, what it's fine to say that, but what about my job? What about the people I have to feed? What about my kids? Like, it's unfair to put people in those positions where they have to think about. I mean, it's just fear. And I think it's an unfair fear.
Well, the media has always used fear as a tactic to control people. We know that, but
Yeah.
this is some major shit here where you fucking with people's livelihoods. They get to the point to where, well, one thing I did notice is that during the pandemic, like, only things you really saw open was like the hospital and Walmart. Like, you could always go to Walmart, like, no matter what. Like, through the whole pandemic, post offices were open, of course. But you can go to Walmart and get everything you need. So that's shutting out the small business owners, But then here's the kicker, though. This is what I was thinking about. The kicker was they put out the loans. They put out the PPP loans. So motherfuckers could go and start their own businesses from scratch and then get that ball rolling and get your own shit. Now, niggas on the other hand was taking the PPPs and buying fucking Lexus shirts and all this stupid shit. Nigga, you had a
we talk about black and white niggas, right? Because it wasn't just us getting PPP loans, buying Lexus shirts.
Well, my concern ain't with white folks, because I'm not white. I don't. Well,
and my concern is with black people too. I only say that when you say stuff like that because people there's a perception that we're the only people that do ignorant shit like that.
No, we do.
And we're not. That's my only point. Like, there's niggas in every nationality. There's niggas, and so you did have a bunch of people using those PPP loans to buy bullshit, not start businesses, fuck, or whatever they was doing with it. They did with it, but you did have a lot of people that got those PPP loans and actually opened up businesses. But none of it, I don't think any of it was like, I have an issue with bullying and fear. Like, I think that they bullied a lot of people into doing something that, like, even you, like, you were put in a position that you did. Like, when you say you made decisions, like, you made a decision, but you weren't comfortable in the decision you made. You made a decision out of necessity, what you felt was necessary, but that wasn't essentially your decision. You know what I'm saying? Like that
Really
was
was.
something. Well,
It
it
was
wasn't if it wasn't no, but and I say it wasn't your decision because you did that out of fear of not having security for your wife and your children.
true.
Well, you don't have, but you don't have kids. But you did that, right? You don't have kids, but you did that out of making sure that you had security for your home and your essentials. The way that you like to live, you want to make sure that that was secure.
Exactly.
And so it essentially, that's what I'm saying, really wasn't your decision because it was a choice between whether I eat or whether I don't. And that's not a fair, that's not a fair position to put anybody in because nigga, yeah, I want to eat.
Right.
And even when you talk about Walmart being open, like these folks wasn't even being paid. They don't make that much money, and really they're essential workers.
Mm-hmm.
And even after that, like when you talk about the grocery store work, like why the fuck are they not making good money? They were essential workers.
But see, it's gonna get ugly in a minute though, because you know what's gonna happen with all these illegal immigrants coming in who don't have to be vaccinated, by the way. They finna come in and scoop up all these jobs that's out here floating around. That's what they came here for. So Walmart may not be paying a lot, and when you talk about the Great Resignation, and motherfuckers say, "Fuck this, I quit this job," or they say, "Well," and see, check. I just thought about this. Now let's just go to Walmart. Say if they come to Walmart and they say, "Well, you got to get a vaccination. You can't come back to work." And let's just say everybody up there say, "Man, fuck this. I don't want to get a vaccine. I quit." Well, you just got all these illegal immigrants that came over who thirsty for jobs, right? You get them in at a lesser rate than what you was paying them already. Now you just said they don't make a lot of money, but we gonna pay them less because they're not even U.S. citizens. So that's your cheap labor. Now it was a point in time that we know a lot of jobs that was here in the U.S. got shipped overseas for what? For cheap labor. It's all a money game when you really look at the big picture. So we could get all these people. So you may go into a Walmart and you start seeing more Haitians or more Mexicans or more Afghanis countrywide. And that's why. Meanwhile, us Americans that's here, we ain't got two nickels to rub together because for one, we can't start a business or we don't know how to start a business or don't want to start a business. And two, because there ain't no jobs around for us no more. Now,
Well, but even if they keep those Walgreens jobs, my point is that if you're an essential worker, why are you making that little money? Like if you're gonna mandate that those are essential workers, grocery stores, Walgreens, they're essential workers and they're exposed, like they're being exposed to COVID, like just like I was, just like police officer was. Why are they only making pennies? You know what I'm saying? And that's my thing. Not the fact that they could do a mass resignation, but the fact that okay, those people that actually came to work because they were deemed essential workers, why the fuck are they making minimum wage? Why?
Because you have no union there to fight for them. And every company wants to save a dollar. Every company. The post office, for example, always talk about they're in the red, this and that. They X $1 million in debt. But they keep raising up the price of stamps every year. They got all this mail and parcels coming through the system, and people is buying signature cons, they buying certifieds, they buying registered, and all this. These things cost $18 a wop, $12 a wop, $10 a wop. This shit is money. This is an everyday thing. So how y'all in fucking debt? At the end of the day, they want to save money. That's why they penny pinch so much and they micromanage so much to save money. If they can get you out. See, the thing is, when it comes to the union jobs, it ain't so easy to push you out the door. But a lot of other jobs aren't union. They could just say, fuck you, we don't want you here, get out. Mm-hmm. Any little petty reason they can find. And it was really wrong that they did the nurses, especially like that, and the police. Because those, we need them. In the midst of all this craziness going on, we need to go to a cop or to go to a hospital and be taken care of. Now you done fuck them over and piss them off. You know what I'm saying? Because it's all about money. They would much rather have a motherfucker up in there and pay them less than they paying you to do this.
And not pay them. And not pay them. Because COVID paid, like you think about those folks that worked during COVID, they really didn't get no fucking money. They didn't get no extra money for being out there.
No, we didn't either. We was getting the same shit we've been getting.
But that's exactly my point. So and all they did was, they want to thank everybody, the essential workers. Like, nigga, pay me. Like, I don't need no pay me. Pay me. Even like when you talk about the post office, how they hiring all these, I don't know if they're called seasonal workers, but they hiring all these people that are they with the post office, but they're not really with the post office. Like, I know for me, I had a postal worker. I hated her. She was terrible, but she was my mail lady. Okay. But then last year, all of a sudden, I'm seeing all these different people. Nobody got on the mail uniform. I don't know who the hell this is. Dropping off my mail, but they don't have on a uniform. They're on the phone. They're not even in a mail car. They in all kinds of different cars, and they dropping off my mail. Like, who the hell are these people? So even when you want to complain, like, who the hell am I complaining about? Because I don't even know who old girl and dude were. Like, I had 2 or 3 different people show up in the week. So when I don't get my mail or when something happened wrong, I don't even know who to report, because I don't even know if you're real. I don't know. Are you a postal worker? What's going, why we got on jeans that, like, you just don't know. And so they're doing a lot of this shit. And it's like I remember when I had this package, and the package had been missing for like 2 months. And I went to the post office, and I swear, everybody, like all the elders, they were saying the same thing. Like, nobody was getting their packages. Packages were saying they were delivered and they weren't delivered. Like, that was a citywide problem. But then that's when Trump started, him and this boy, they fucking with the post office.
They were.
But you talk about, like, making even the post, like, anybody that was essential workers, they all got screwed. Like, they all got screwed because you want to mandate something for me. I've been in the shit since y'all didn't leave me sitting at home. I couldn't sit at home and get paid. I had to come to work. So you made me come to work. I worked in this shit, and now you want to tell me I can't work no more until I get this shit. Like, I definitely applaud and stand by anybody who said, I'm not gonna do it. I'm gonna quit my job, because that's a hard thing to do. Yeah. But I definitely think that, I get it. Like, if you want to get it, that's fine. But don't tell me I have to do it when you done had me in this shit all the time with no extra money, no extra help, barely had. Like, I remember times we didn't have PPE. Like, remember they were talking about they didn't have a lot of PPE.
Yeah, when it first started, yeah.
Yeah, you had nurses working with partial PPEs, reusing PPEs, just all kinds of shit. Bunny suit, like I swear we had bunny suits. Like, those were they were waxy, like, nigga, come on, bunny suits.
They caught it from the blind side. They wasn't prepared for it, and then now, since every industry was still short dead, now you couldn't get people to ship the shit in because you didn't have the drivers to get it here. So right. Yeah, so it was chaotic. But now they kind of got things got things in perspective, to whereas you can go to a gas station and go buy a mask, and go to wherever you can go and get what you need to get. Same with the vaccines. I was worried about the vaccines was going to run out one day because they were shipping them overseas. That was just a worry of mine, But going back to the post office thing, when you see people with no uniforms and they out there, those are rural carriers. So 10 to 1, what probably happened with you is that whoever your regular was the person with the uniform on. That regular was probably out on sick leave or on vacation. They may be on COVID leave, because you have that too. So they get, like, basically the COVID workers will get like 2 weeks off with pay if they got COVID. Mm-hmm. So, you know what I'm saying? So they'll get that, and then they'll stretch that out as far as they can go, blah, 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 blah. Now, I don't know how long this is happening, but if you see people out there like that with no uniform on, those are carriers. They're just rural carriers. You see what I'm saying?
But again, y'all can't give, and the post office can't give no, like, it's really, like, it speaks to what's supposed to work for the people. Yeah. And how they view the people now. Like, definitely, okay, even if they're not my regular carrier, where's their uniform to identify? Like, we identify postal workers in uniform. Like, that's how I identify you. Mm-hmm. And they weren't doing anything wrong. They definitely were delivering mail, but as a taxpayer, like, it's a government, you are basically government officials. You're not even recognizable. And I know that you all are making enough money, because, like you said, I buy stamps. I send plenty of certified letters. Why don't they have a uniform at least? Like it's like there's they don't feel a need to even make anybody look professional anymore. Just go deliver mail.
I've been doing it for 15 years. I ain't wore a uniform since I started. I'm a rural carrier. I don't never wear a uniform. The shit I got on right now, I can carry it.
So you probably delivered to my house.
Well, no, because I deliver in Creed. But
I'm just saying, you one of the people that live to my house with your regular clothes on.
But they have badges. They do have badges. Just to explain the craft, they do have badges. Their badge is supposed to be visible. Now, I've never had my badge visible, but I always have a badge on me. Okay, so that's all that is that you have the city carriers and the clerks. They have a clothing allowance, and we don't. That's the only difference.
But again, why not though? Why? That's how I recognize you. Like definitely, I ain't never walked up on them, but I see them on my ring. So they could have had badges on. I'm not gonna say that they didn't, but what I do know is that they walking up on my porch with mail, and we wearing the same shit. I don't recognize you as a postal worker. You know what I'm saying? And when you talk about those neighborhoods, like certain hoods, like you can't just be walking up on people's porches without, because they don't easily. And I'm not saying it happened, but your uniform is what makes us know that you're a postal worker.
Well, the truck was served. Well, what kind of vehicles are they rolling up in?
Man, I've seen them in regular cars, like no lie, like regular cars.
We used to do that
in regular cars, not pushing a mail cart. They're just in regular, like the postal. What I'm accustomed to is the little truck, the little box truck with openings on both sides. So you getting out of a car in regular clothes with my mail. I mean, you know, to me, it's just there seems to be a lack of courtesy towards the American people in general, or just in general when you come to stuff like that, because that's how I recognize who you are. And that uniform is like when you see that uniform, even if it's hanging up, you automatically think postal worker. So if you coming up in a Puma outfit with my mail and you getting out of a Lexus, I'm not thinking you're a postal worker.
Well,
I might think you might try, but I'm saying they may be, but I'm saying I might think you're trying to subpoena me, you might try to serve me, something like that. But you're not delivering my mail looking like that, because that's not what we associate with a postal worker. It's just not.
Well, like I say, we are rural carriers. We don't have a uniform allowance, and we do deliver mail. Now,
well, y'all need to get a uniform allowance.
Well, I mean, they won't. That's what the union ain't fought for that. And I'm kind of glad they didn't, because I wouldn't wear no damn uniform. I've been there 15 years. I ain't worn no uniform 15 years. Well, I'm gonna start wearing them now. No,
so I can know who you are.
I mean, I get that, but see, like where I deliver at, you have areas that they call city areas. Like actually where I live, we have a city carrier, so we live in a city area, and then you have the rural areas, the backwood areas, where it's the dirt roads and all this shit way out in the boonies and shit. They get the rural carriers. So in your case, whereas you probably lived you lived in a city area, but your regular was off for whatever reason. So maybe they called some rural carriers to come over there and carry that route. See what I'm saying? That's a temporary thing. Or
no, this has been going on for a year. So my mail carrier, the first year, she was there. And then after that, I just got different people. They just show up.
They either retired or they hurt or sick or some shit like that. Because if anything over 2 years, then that person retired. But if it's under 2 years, then they probably they had a surgery, they recovering, And since again, the post office is short like everywhere else. So now you pulling motherfuckers from Egypt to come out there and run this route, because you can't leave no mail at the office. So
shit, if you can't,
you can't. You cannot leave mail at the office. That's over with. That's been over with for years. Everything in the office has to go. So
what they doing with what were they doing with it, putting it in? Because they found a bunch of mail in a bunch of different places last year.
You know why that happened? Because you're short. You're short.
I'm not blaming the postal worker. I'm just saying I had mail missing for 2 months, and one day I swear, one day it found its way in my mailbox.
Okay, right, because it was short. I'm telling
After I contacted the post office, and I'm like, hey, yo, look, this shit. And they kept on saying they said it was delivered. I'm like, no, it wasn't delivered.
no,
Wasn't delivered. I don't have it. I was like, I got cameras. It wasn't delivered. Yeah, it was delivered. And all of a sudden, months later, here it is. I was excited about it because I was looking for them.
that mean they probably delivered your shit to the wrong house. And that's what happens when you got people on the route that don't know what they're doing. But you have to do that because the regular done called off. They've been off 6-7 months a year. Well, shit, we got to get somebody to deliver this shit. So they're gonna call Johnny Ray from Evanston to come out there. No, I mean whoever. They're gonna call somebody out there. This happens in my office all the time. So I know firsthand what it is. That's what it is. It's just like we know our regular mailman. Okay, we've been here since almost a year. We know our regular mailman. I just seen the guy, met him, talked to him, well, briefly talked to him. But I met this guy a couple of times. I know if the mail is late or if somebody's walking up on my shit in civvies, that dude's off for some reason. Maybe he got sick, maybe he had a surgery, maybe he's on FMLA. It could be a number of reasons, but he's not here. So they're gonna get somebody to fill in for him because you can't leave the mail at the office. That's the curtailing mail been over. Can't do that no more. So that's what that is. And when you see multiple people like that, that's what that is, because they gotta give people days off so you don't go into overtime. See, it's all a money game. See, it makes sense to just have the same person there and let them get the overtime. Nope, we're gonna cut them, get them a day off, and we're gonna put Becky Sue on there and let her work a couple of days so she don't get into overtime and he don't get into overtime. We stay under budget so we get our bonus at the end of the fiscal year. That's what it's all about. See what I'm saying? It's a money game.
I understand that. I just wanted my mail. That's
I mean, yeah, well, shit. I mean, I understand. I didn't heard stories about. I seen on the news they have big ass they call APCs, but big ass basically cages of mail that's just sitting on the dock. You ain't got nobody there to bring it out. If everybody,
and that's why I say like it's indicative of how the government views the American people. Like I don't think that it's like necessarily the postal workers' fault, but the system is like is like I feel like the system now is like fuck the American people. We're gonna use these government agencies to do what we want to do and to filter money how we want to filter. Like whatever we want to do with that money, that's what we're gonna do. And so now the American people are not getting, we're not getting the service that we're supposed to have. And it's pretty much like it's not a big thing that we're not getting the things that we're guaranteed or we're supposed to be guaranteed to have. And it's like pretty, and that I think that has to do with the fiber and the morale that's going on like right now. People are feeling that in so many different ways, like from a state level, from a city level, and from even from a national level. Like nobody gives a shit. Like it's all about how much money you all can retain to pay yourselves and to take away from those that like the citizens. You're taking so much from the citizens that there's really, like, if you think about I don't know if you had, like, I remember going to the Boys and Girls Club. I remember in the summer being able to go to the park district, and there were plenty of things for you to do free, and you could be there all day doing stuff, and there was always an adult there, and they kind of monitored you, but you kind of, you could swim, play ball, whatever. You could do that all day while your parents were at work. True. There's nothing for these kids to there's nothing for them to do.
I disagree.
It's nothing. Like where I grew up at and where I raised my kids, there was that stuff was not available to them. Like I had to drive outside of my area to get them to play football or cheerleading, and that shit costs money. Like it wasn't cheap. Like there was no, and when you talk about the park district, if they were only able to take a certain amount of people. So once they had that certain amount, what are you to do?
Go somewhere else.
Well, but my mother worked during the day. So in the summers, the park district and the Boys and Girls Club like literally was in walking distance of where we were. So me and my brothers would walk. That's where we would walk. We would go to the Boys and Girls Club. We would play in the park. We would do all that, and then we would come home. My kids are military kids, but when we moved back to Chicago, same neighborhood. That shit is gone. There's no Boys and Girls Club. The park just it's still a park, but there's no activity. There's nothing there for them to do. There's no structure. And I think our children, that's a big part of the the technology is a curse, because there's no incentive for these kids to go. Like, I remember being told that you couldn't go. I'd rather for you to whoop my ass and let me go outside and tell me I can't go outside for the rest of the day. That was everything. That was everything, to go outside.
Mm-hmm.
You don't even see kids, like, I don't see little girls too much jumping rope. I don't, if I have ever seen them, they don't jump rope. You don't see, you don't see them playing like we were playing. And part of that is because of technology, and part of it because it's so unsafe out here now that they really, like, you're really scared to send your kids out because you don't know what's gonna happen.
Well, but then the other part is it's a matter of choice, because you can go buy a jump rope. I mean, when I was a kid, in the 80s and everything, I played Little League when I think I started, I was like 9, but I was a kid before then. I grew up in Uptown. Okay. So we had a little area we used to call the mall. It was on Malden. Kitty Corner from Truman College. Anyway, like, there was like these sewers that was like spaced about, I don't know, maybe 40, 50 feet apart in the shape of a diamond. We used to go out there and play baseball. We used to go out there and all you need is a ball. That's how it was. The Little League shit didn't come till we got like a little bit older than what we were. But primarily we spent most of our time outside just finding shit, hide and go seek, Johnny come across, off the wall. We found a tennis ball, it's a damn wrap. We just throw the ball against the wall as hard as we can. We play dodgeball. We did. See, that's the thing. The kids wanted to be out there. We didn't have, we still have video games. Video games was just coming on the scene. Like, I had the Atari. I had the Atari and the Coleco joint after that. And then I got the Sega after that. So that was like at night when you was at home. But you spent the rest of the day, once you got out of class, shit, you was out there. We found shit to do. We didn't need no facility to go to for that. See what I'm saying?
We had to. My mother didn't allow us to come from school. Like, when we came from school, we had to be in the house. So any activity we had was like I said, we went to the Boys and Girls Club. We didn't just, we were outside, and we had people in the neighborhood watching us. Like, that was another thing that we didn't have. But certainly you can't, there's no denying that those programs that were available to us back then, they're very limited, if not non-existent now.
But that's what I'm saying.
Those resources are not there.
Right. I'm not taking away from that. I agree. Because at one point I didn't, but I actually kind of do. But before we even thought about those resources, the resource for us was just a ball. Or for the girls, it was a jump rope or a piece of chalk. They take
girls
chalk.
You saying, I mean, girls, if you saying hopscotch or double dutch or Chinese.
In my day, huh?
No, I'm not talking. We're not talking about in your old ass day. We talking about now. We talking about now.
But kids is kids. I'm like, okay, the only difference is they got more access to technology, but that's because the adults put it in front of them. But
I certainly agree. I agree that technology plays a big part in it, but I also think that things have been taken from the resources have been taken out of our communities.
You telling me the girls can't go buy a jump rope?
I mean, I guess they could, but they don't even sell jump ropes in the we used to go to the corner store and buy a jump rope, and jump rope wasn't nothing but a laundry cord that you tied up in knots and paid double dutch. And Chinese rope was rubber bands, but I don't even know if they sell them anymore. But my point is that not saying that they can't, that I'm not saying that all resources are gone, but certainly like those resources in the community, like the Boys and Girls, those structured things they're non-existent anymore. And although we had we played on the block. I had plenty of cousins that lived on the block. I had brothers. I had plenty of people to play with on the block. But to get away from off of that block and to be interactive with other people, that was the Boys and Girls Club. That was the parks that we were able to walk to a couple of parks where I grew up at. They don't have those anymore. There's not a lot of outside of the neighborhood resource, and you don't see a lot of kids playing. And some of that, a lot of it has to do with technology and the video games and just it has a lot to do with that because we didn't have that. Like we had Atari, but shit, you couldn't mess up your mothers because they always tell you're gonna mess up their screens or something. You're gonna mess up the vertical hold on the TV, so you could only play Miss Pac-Man for so long because they was gonna get pissed at you and tell you to mess up their TV, so you couldn't play that long. Or it was gonna stay on the after you turned it off, the little Miss Pac-Man thing would stay on the screen, and that would piss them off too. So you wasn't gonna tap that TV, so it was different. But we did have other things that we could do, and I remember as a child being able to go outside of the neighborhood and be safe. Right. Like it was always gangs. Like there were gangs, there definitely were gangs, but you were able to go outside the neighborhood and play with other kids and go ride to the park and do some play. But like it was. You might didn't have a ball, but you can get to the park and you can find a basketball, or you can find somebody playing softball or something, and you can play with them. That's not the case now.
Well, that can't be true because I'm living proof of that. I got a game tomorrow. I've been playing softball for years now. You know what I'm saying? Now we talk about
softball for children.
No, this is adult softball, but I know
we're not talking about your old ass canard.
No, but
we're talking about children.
No, but look, this is what I'm saying. Now, I know for sure, look, they have men's softball, which is really, it's harder to find men's softball than it is kids softball. That's just one thing. They got shit out there for kids, you just have to pay for it. There's shit out there for kids, year-round, basketball, swimming, wrestling, karate, taekwondo.
Yeah, and it's not cheap.
I agree.
It's not cheap. Let me tell you something. I was working 2 jobs. My daughter was in competitive cheerleader, and my son was in football. Mm-hmm. Competitive cheerleading itself cost me $280, and that was without the uniforms, that was without the makeup, that was without my jacket, that was without the travel, that was without all this stuff. And then my son is playing football, so we talk about all this uniform, all this, like that stuff is fucking expensive. So if you exactly, I was damn near stripping at the Pink Monkey. So you talking about paying all this money, like everybody ain't, and I can say that I was very fortunate because I always had my mother and my grandmother and my kid's father, as crazy as he was, my brothers, like I still have a support system. Right. That when I couldn't do or when I didn't have, they picked up the slack for me. Not everybody has that, but we're talking about like activities, like $280 a month. That's a lot of fucking activity. That's a lot of money spent. And then you still have to put some more money into it and practice and time. And, so even all of that, like things have shifted in such a way that it's not a concern for the children as much as it is. And not saying that the people that do run this kind of stuff is not concerned with the kids, but everything is for profit now. So it's always about how much money I can get out of this. And, and even with the government, like the park districts used to be free. It used to be free to go in a park district. Yeah. The YMCA, you could just pay, $1 or $2 to go in there. The park, like when I send my kids, I remember sending my kids for the first summer to the YMCA. It cost so much damn money that it was in the neighborhood. So it's unreasonable to like think, how do you get neighborhood kids into something that's productive for them, interactive, and challenging for them for the summer when you don't have this money? And there wasn't a discount. There wasn't like this, but this is the YMCA. This is something that taxpayers have paid for. Why do I have to pay for this? And I mean, and even when you talk about the park districts their activities cost money now, and they have limited slots. Mm-hmm. It's just so different than when we grew up. So when I talk about resources, like certainly they can come up with their own stuff, but the resources that we had that were free, they're damn near non-existent now. They're not free. And so when you talk about somebody working $15 an hour, but the market rent is $1,200 in the fucking hood, raggedy, like I have to choose between us having a decent place to live, some lights and food, or you going to the Y. Guess what? You're gonna have to stay in the house.
Yep.
Because I can't afford both. And it's really a sad state of affairs just to see where we are and what our collective concern is as a whole in this nation.
I agree. But I got to thinking to a certain extent, and I'm just speculating when I say it may have never been free. Because I mean, at least for me, I was too young to know what was what. You know what I'm saying? But the other side of the coin is, the YMCA and the park district and all that, they're still businesses. So they gotta keep the lights running some kind of way. So if that means that I would compare that to, and it may be ignorant for me to say this, but I would compare it to softball. Like, say that it was a point in time where the YMCA was state funded, right? And then now they lost the funding and they said, well, the people gotta come out of pocket. I compare that to softball, whereas I played for teams that were sponsored by bars. And then now the next year you come and they say, well, we lost the sponsorship. We got to pay out of pocket. Same principle, same thing, but now we got to front the cost for it. So it's still a business, just like with softball. Softball is a business. I have to pay to play softball. It ain't free. You know what I'm saying? Even with Little League, my parents didn't have to put the money up. You have to buy a uniform. You have to buy a glove, your cleats. You have to pay to go in and go here, go there, blah, blah, blah. It's a business. It's all about.
But they receive federal money, which is by, so federal money. Just listen, hear me out.
Okay.
If I'm paying taxes, so I pay taxes, right?
Huh.
And I pay taxes. I'm gonna give you a good example. Like, I don't know if you're familiar with South Shore High School.
I heard of it.
Okay, so South Shore High, my mom went to South Shore High School.
Okay.
And South Shore, and I have cousins that went. So South Shore High School, they didn't tear the building down, but they transferred all the students out of South Shore and they built this building. And it's some kind of international school now, right? It's in the community. We paid taxes on it, but they turned it into this international charter school. Now, in order to get into the school, you have to apply. So neighborhood kids, you can't just go there because you're in the neighborhood. Okay. And the school was 2 blocks from my house. So my child had to apply in order to get in there, but my tax money paid for that to get built. Right. But I can't attend there. So what they essentially did was the kids that didn't get into that school, they had to go to CVS. Now there's a high school 2 blocks, walking distance from my house. CVS, you actually have to get on a bus and go down to 95th, 87th, right? 87th Street. So you got to get on a bus, but you have a school in walking distance. And not only a school in walking distance, but everybody that lives in that area, their property taxes pay for the funding of that school, the building of that new school. The YMCA is the same principle. They're getting federal money, they're getting grants, it's non-for-profit, charitable donations. So if you're getting grant money, if you're getting federal money, I could see you charging me $15, $20 because you do need to keep lights on and stuff like that. Right. You'll get more people in like that. But if you're receiving federal money, that's money that I'm already paying for. Why do I have to pay hundreds of dollars to be a member there, to have my children go there, when you're getting federal money, you're getting grants, and you're benefiting from those people that live in that area. They're paying, some of their taxes are going into maintaining that site.
Well, I think as far as the school, it kind of ties in with white folks wanting to take Chicago back, and they're going to do it because it makes perfect sense. We're going to build a charter school in South Shore, right? If I know South Shore like I think I do, it's over east, right?
Yeah, so South Shore was an actual high school, which is why I actually had you heard. South Shore is a historical high school. So they didn't tear the actual building, the high school. It was a high school called South Shore. So okay. It's on the east side. It's on 75th and Jeffrey.
Okay, fair enough. So that's not too far from Lakeshore Drive, right?
That's right. So Jeffrey turns into Lakeshore Drive exactly. At 67th Street, right? Prime
real estate. So that means that you got to have a certain GPA or whatever to get into the school. We're gonna handpick who we want in this school. So in turn, that push y'all further out a different direction. A matter of fact, further south, you said 95th, right? To CVS.
Yeah, 87th and Jeffrey.
Right. They push you further south to CVS. We're going to take this because this is right off the expressway. The expressway is going to put you right in downtown. That's where white folks work at. So it makes perfect sense. We're going to take y'all tax money to build this up and boot y'all the fuck out of here. That's what that's all
but
about.
that's oh, no doubt. But they've been trying to do that for years. That's why I'm
doing
saying
it.
when I say, well, no, they're not. Let me tell you why they're not doing it.
Okay.
I grew up in that area. Like I lived on 79th and Bennett. My grandmother lives on 79th and Bennett. My uncles live on 79th and Bennett. My brother lives on 79th and Constant. My mother lives on 80th. Like my whole family lives over there, right? Mm-hmm. And so what essentially is going on is that people that own those homes, they tried to come in there and buy those homes maybe 10 years ago. And they were offering a lot of money for them. And what they were essentially getting ready to do was they were going to tear down, I think, the first 3 or 4 homes on the block and make a parking lot. Right, but nobody would sell. So because nobody would sell, what you saw was crime getting worse and worse. Because 79th Street is bad, but it's not as bad as people think it is. But you started seeing more crime because the older people that were there, they weren't selling and they're not moving. Like my grandmother's still there now. Okay. Her neighbor has been there so long that my mother grew up with their older siblings and I grew up with their younger siblings. Like we call each other cousins. That's how long we've grown up with each other. Like most people in the neighborhood, their block, they're in their 80s and they're not selling their homes and their homes are paid for. So they can't take them like that. So you make crime bad enough over there. You do that. Like I can walk to Jeffrey, get on one bus and I'm in downtown in 15 minutes. Mm-hmm. No problem. So definitely it's prime real estate. Definitely they want it back, but it's a lot of homeowners that actually own that property. They're not selling it. So now we're going to create stuff like this. But I mean, I understand why they're doing it. But my point is that I'm paying taxes to facilities that my children can't use. And that goes for the YMCA, that goes for schools. Like, why would I ever have to send my kid on a bus to high school when it's a fucking high school? I can look out my door and I'm looking dead at the high school, but my kids can't go there unless you accept them. Like all of that is I blame us for that. It is, but I blame us for that because I think that we should push and fight harder than what we do for the things that happen. I think we let a lot of things happen to us that don't necessarily have to be that way. But I also think that there's a very cavalier idea of us as a people and what they can and can't do to us. And I feel like they feel like they can do whatever. So they come into our communities and we allow them for the most part to do whatever. And then we end up losing like prime real estate. Like, again, you're absolutely right. Jeffrey turns into Lakeshore Drive on 60 once you hit 67th Street. And what people don't know is right at between like 74th and Jeffrey to 67th. If you go a block over, there's mansions over there.
Of course. That makes
there's mansions. And you can't, like, if you go down 67th that way, they're at a point you can't come in from like 79th Street because they have it blocked off. So you can't just, it's blocked off. People don't know that. Like I remember my grandmother telling me when she moved over there, her and her sisters, they used to have crosses burned on their lawns when they moved over there because it was predominantly white. And so my grandmother and her sisters, they would sit outside on the porch with their rifles because they would come, because my grandfather and their husbands, they were in the military. So they would be at home by themselves and they would have to sit on the porch with these guns because they would burn crosses. And so you think about like those kind of people, they're not going to give up their house, like all the shit that they had to go through in order to stay there.
Right.
Why would you? And again, it is prime real estate because I can get on a bike and ride to the lakefront. I can get on a bus and go downtown. Like I don't even have to have a car to do anything that I need to do when it talks about downtown. I can just get on the bus. And so they definitely do want that stuff back. But I guess the long and the short of this is that we're giving all this money and we're getting absolutely nothing back in return for our children. And that's the biggest crime because they don't have what we had. And I had a very good I have a very memorable childhood.
Mm-hmm. I agree with you 100% because it's like, you know, we have the resources there to do it, but we don't even know. A lot of us don't even know what's going on right in front of us. And we'll sit and we even talk about it and don't see the implications of raising the rent or being able to go, not to go to this school and you got to go to that school, or the food desert thing, or the lack of resources in the neighborhoods, and the lack of jobs and all this, and the crime rate going up. We don't even see the implications of it. We just adapt to it and think it's just gonna just, oh, okay, well, this is just the way it is. It's a whole bigger plan going on. And those of us that do see it, it's not like, can't be a lot of us, because if more of us did see it, we'd act on it.
Right.
See what I'm saying? So we just going with the motions and just go ride the storm. But eventually one day they're gonna get you out of there, or they're gonna make it so hard for you to stay there that,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? It's coming.
If we don't get a hold of it, I think you're right. Like we
Yeah.
have to get a hold of it. Unfortunately, I think that I feel like we're waiting for something that's not going to come. Like we're waiting on somebody to tell us what to do instead of take the initiative to say this is what needs to be done. Like we're waiting for the media to tell us who we're supposed to follow next, and it's fucked up. Like as bad as that is, we're waiting. We're just waiting.
Because it's easy to wait. It takes no effort to wait. Instead of putting work in and getting our shit together. You know, it's easy to wait and it's easy to pray and hope and all this other bullshit. Meanwhile, them motherfuckers is putting in work. They've been doing this shit. They're going to keep doing this shit. They build it right in front of you. And look, we're going to build this mansion right here, right in the hood. Motherfuckers will see it and won't think twice about it. I know I saw it for a fact in Inglewood. I know I saw it right off.
Oh, babe, when that Whole Food and that Starbucks popped up, I knew it was over. I said they coming.
Right. You start seeing grocery stores start coming back. That ain't for you. Then they talking about they putting Whole Foods in the hood and how high Whole Foods is. That's because it ain't for you. That ain't for your dollar. They'll take your dollar right now, but eventually that ain't gonna that ain't for you. They finna boot you out of here.
Right. They buying prime real estate at the cheapest price they can get it now.
Yeah.
For what's gonna come later on. Yeah, exactly.
I remember my mother-in-law was telling me, matter of fact, in Inglewood, they were selling properties for a penny.
Yeah.
Right. This was maybe it was a couple of years ago. And I was like, damn.
Yeah, like 4 or 5 years ago.
Right.
But you had to be a resident of Inglewood.
Resident of Inglewood, right. Because you know exactly what I'm talking about. I was talking to my wife about it. I was like, damn, I really wanted to get one. I wanted to get one. And I didn't press it. And I should have, because that's even a further indication of what's to come. They finna take all this shit. Like you go through there, you see a lot of abandoned buildings and all that. You know they dirt cheap. Ain't nobody staying there. You gotta go over there, you tear it down, you build something new up. You know what I'm saying?
And then put the L station back over there on 63rd Street. So the L station runs back through there now.
Right. See, that's not for us. That's for white people. So white people could take the train and ride their bikes and take the buses downtown to their jobs and park their Benzes and shit in their garage. That's what it's all about. And they could push all the black folks and all of my so-called minorities out in the burbs, whether it's south, north, west burbs, wherever, but you're not finna stay in Chicago. It's too much going on, too much money they can make. Just like the same week, here the mayor was talking about the Bears moving out to Arlington Heights, and it was something else going on. We talking about the Chicago Bears. This is a football city. They make so much money. I mean, we went a couple years ago, parking alone was $50. That's before you even bought the tickets, because the demand is so high. They're gonna take and move them out and use that facility for something else. They're not gonna trade that off for less money. You see what I'm saying? That means that they got another plan that's gonna generate more money. They're not gonna let these niggas fuck that up in the city. Hell no. We kicking all of y'all out. They tried to do it with the Olympics. About, I don't know, 5, 6 years ago when we didn't get the Olympic bid, but they was already okay.
Oh yeah, building a new thing on the Star Wars joint. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So you had that whole shit going on right there. So they already like, look, hey, that's why you got motherfuckers in office. It's a business thing. It ain't got shit to do with the people. It's all about generating dollars. They finna kick niggas out the city like a motherfucker, and then all the crime and shit is gonna be right out here in the suburbs. The suburbs is gonna be as bad as the city is now. That's what's gonna happen, because it's a gold mine out here, especially if you factor in the police force in Chicago is getting low, and you know their police force is bigger than the ones in the burbs. So then now it's gonna be even less police out in the burbs, so they can just wreak havoc in the burbs. So it's you know, I don't know, it's fucked up, but ain't nothing I can do except get up and go to work in the morning.
It is something you can do. Like,
what's that?
Why would you say that?
I mean, I could do what I could do on my end for myself and my family. That's priority number one. But other than that, you know, this plan has been set in place before I was even on the planet. This plan, it's not an overnight thing. This is a well thought out strategy, and they're constantly building upon it to see that it comes to pass. And Black folks ultimately ain't got sense enough to see what's happening right in front of them. So we just gonna just, oh, okay, and lay down and let the shit happen and move when they say move. We're not gonna stand up. You got some of us individually that'll stand up and fight for our properties, but ultimately everybody else, oh man, well, you know, well, they raised the rent up, so we're gonna go ahead and move. The rent too high, the taxes too high. All right, well, we can get a place out in South Holland. All right, we're gonna go over there. And that's gonna be the end.
Because but you have to remember, like even that thought, like South Holland was a big deal. Like to live in South Holland it was a big deal. So when you don't, people, I think there's a lot of people that are not well versed in what's going on. Like they see it happening, but they really don't understand.
I don't know.
So when they talk about moving out of the city, the first thing like you said, I'm moving to South Holland. Well, South Holland is accepting Section 8, and South Holland ain't what it used to be. Plus, at the end of the day, like I lived out there. I went to Thornwood High School. Okay. I know that when you go out to the suburb, like back then, buses stop running at a certain time. They just do. Mm-hmm. And if you don't have a car, you're not coming back out to the city because there's no you got the metro and the bus. So if those cut off at a certain time, you can't get back out to the city. And that's what people don't understand. Once you get your ass out there in them suburbs, you can come back out to the city if you don't have a car. Nigga, you stuck until it's time for you to go back to work because there's no services running. Like the Pace bus, I think the Pace got to 95th, and you had to get on another bus. So if you can't get on the bus, then you're stuck. And it's being designed that way. Even like the Soul Train, now the Soul Train is going to some of the south suburbs, but the Soul Train has always been the Soul Train.
What's the Soul Train?
95th, Dan Ryan.
I didn't know that. Okay.
We call it the Soul Train. That's why all the Black people.
I didn't know that. You told me something.
Yeah, they call it the Soul Train. Soul Train.
I never heard
Soul Train.
The Soul Train. I didn't know.
Soul Train.
Well, you just taught me something new. Okay, I know that.
And people, and they call it, well, you probably didn't know that because once it gets to a certain, I think maybe once it reaches 35th, then it becomes a lot less dark. Get a little sprinkle of white and Korean in there because now everybody's going to work. But the further you come back, it gets real dark, and so now it's the Soul Train now because you got a lot of people on it. So it's the Soul, they call it the Soul Train.
Okay.
But they extended that L past 95th now.
Exactly. That makes
so that's getting your ass out to the suburbs, but it's not designed to bring you back in. So when we think about like even the schools, Thornwood and Thornton and Thornridge are not what they used to be when we were growing up. They're just not. They're garbage schools. They're hood. It's everything is a hood now. And so when you think about people our age or a little bit younger saying they want to go out to those areas, they're thinking about those areas as they were, not as they are now.
Right.
And you're gonna get a lot of house. You're gonna get a lot of house, and you're gonna get it cheap because baby, once they get you out there in like 10 years, you're gonna be trying to figure out what the hell you're doing out there. Because they also are moving when they knocking the projects down, they moving them out there too. So you got people that have no interest in home ownership, that are not accustomed to, and not saying that everybody in projects do that, but I've had people when they pull down them, when they pull down them, those projects, some of them people that live next door to me with garbage bags hanging off their gates, pissing pissing outside on the curb. Like, you got a whole house, we really pissing upside the curb while we got this plastic bag full of garbage just hanging. Like, when you don't take, and even and I don't have nothing to do with like Section 8 or anything, but when you don't have any interest in your home, you tend to do that shit. Like, you don't really care because you don't have any pride in it, and it decreases the value of everybody's property around you. And so that's essentially what's going to happen. They're going to move all of them out to the suburb, and it's going to be some shit. It's going to be Inglewood in the suburbs.
Yep, that's going to be, those are the renters that come around and do that. And they're taking just, and bring all that hood shit out to the burbs with them. And see, that's making it hard. Just like that's just same thing in Chicago. It's making it harder for the homeowners. The homeowners are the ones who take care of their properties, who really take the shit seriously. But the renters, they don't give a fuck. They there for a couple of months.
Some renters, because I've had renters that do good, and you have some people that buy them properties. Because I know them. They buy them properties, they don't fix them up, they let them fall apart, and they rent them out each year. And you be like, what the hell? Why shit just falling apart? You like, nigga, y'all still, so y'all gonna rent this like this shit be like this, y'all gonna rent it like this? And I've got to the point where I just call the city on them, because like, essentially I feel like I want to step outside of my house, and I want to look at nice shit. So if you're gonna rent your shit like this, for whatever reason, you rent it like, I'm gonna need you to fix it. And if you can't fix it, I'm gonna call them people on you, because you're fucking with the value of my property. Like, you essentially are. And then I don't think that is, and you have a lot of people that don't look like us buying properties in our area because it's cheap now. Yep. But you're not really fixing them up. You just throwing some shit together. And if it fall apart, it fall apart. You don't mow the lawn, But I had somebody coming out here to cut my grass every week. And I gotta look at your shit over here looking like, National Geographics. Like, what are we doing?
Fuck it, report them, because you know what?
That's what I do.
But see, some people get homes and they're not prepared for it. You see what I'm saying? And that's the problem is that it's just like I've been through, like going back and forth to the city. I'm not an E-way driver. I take the streets. I take Pulaski or Cicero or whatever. And you could drive from where we stayed to Chicago, and you could just notice a difference in like Mexican neighborhoods and in Black neighborhoods. Now, we both allegedly minorities, but and we could arguably say that we are more the poorer class, but their neighborhoods don't have trash and beer bottles and weed bags and shit like that, and niggas standing on the corner and all this. And I'd have been up through there. And you don't see that over there. There's a sense of pride there. Maybe it's more homeowners, I don't know. But there's seemingly a sense of pride. You go in their neighborhoods, you see Mexican-owned businesses all throughout the neighborhood. Same thing in Chinatown, of course, definitely in white people's neighborhoods. But in our neighborhoods, like, we have nothing together. We got Arab businesses, we got all this, there's nothing there that's ours.
Well, part of the problem is, I know for our like 79th Street, I know part of our problem was when we were talking to the alderwoman, who was bullshit. She was actually granting these people businesses. So you have to apply. You have to go to the alderman and tell them what you want to do, and they have to approve where these businesses are located. So she essentially had the final approval on it. So what she did was she had, like, literally there were 3 damn liquor stores within a block of each other. 2 were across the street. We had her shut them down, and then we had her dry out Jeffrey completely. So there's no liquor stores on Jeffrey at all. But some of that, again, it goes back to us with the legislation. Like, we're so quick to want to talk about the president, but our shit happens locally, and we don't vote in those local elections. That shit it affects us a lot more than the presidential, because when you do the local, that affects who does your legislation to the president, to the White House. Like, the people that you vote in are not voting your interest. They're not bringing your interest to the table because we're just name recognition. So if we know your name, we just gonna vote for you. We don't know shit about your policies, whatever. You've been in office for 15 years, and nigga, I still got the same damn hole, the sinkhole in my, you know, in the, it's still in the street, but we gonna vote for you because we know you, and that's our biggest problem. Like we don't hold people to task, like the alderman, the mayor, like we don't hold these people to task. Like definitely fix this shit, or we're gonna vote you out. Like no ifs, ands, or buts about it. We're not. Don't come to this fucking church talking about you love the Lord. Like that's fine. You love them over there.
Right.
Fix this shit. Get this shit taken care of. Fix these issues that we're having, or we're gonna vote you out. And that, I think that's what we need to be. That's what we need to be focused on right now. Like get your shit together, or we're gonna vote you out, and we're gonna find somebody that is going to run for us. Like even to the point of like maybe getting some fresh blood in there and running against them with some different ideas. Because right now we're not making anybody responsible for our communities, and I think that's a big part of the problem. Nobody that we're voting in, they don't, like once they get in, most people don't even know who their alderwoman is, alderperson is. They don't even know where the office is. That's a problem. That's a problem when you're a homeowner, even if you're a renter, that you don't know who's in charge of your community. Like you're supposed to be in control of why I don't have what you call them, street lights.
Right.
Why my garbage ain't being empty. Like I remember recently, before I moved from Chicago, like the garbage man wasn't even emptying my recycle. They hadn't come for like 2 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks. Like why? And then when you put in a complaint, I go back and look at the complaint, it's been resolved. But my recycle trash is still here.
Out of pocket.
So I ended up having to call I wouldn't call my alderman, my alderwoman. And I told her, well, and I really did like my alderwoman, because when I say they took care of it, it was taken care of. It was taken care of. It was handled. Her secretary, administrative assistant, whatever they call it, she was really nice. And she got it taken care of. And I think that's part of the problem too. Like we don't have, like they're not giving tickets for people not mowing their lawn. Like I definitely understand that you don't, like you may not be able to pay somebody to mow your lawn, but goddamn it, like if you tried, I wouldn't even have an issue with it. But we can't have Jumanji just like, that breeds rats and all kind of shit. And we, and it is just about, having that pride in where we, like you said, like I don't, on 79th Street, those neighborhoods, they don't have all that trash and shit. Those homeowners they're still planting flowers and mowing grass and making sure it looks like a neighborhood still.
And it should, it should, because these are your living quarters. You should take pride in it, whether you're renting or you're a homeowner.
Right.
It's just a personal thing, but it's too easy to just, okay, I'm gonna just throw trash on the street or whatever. That's your choice. Then when your neighborhood looks like shit, and then people start moving out, and you got all these abandoned buildings, which also brings rats. When the garbage people ain't coming and picking up the cans and all this other stuff, which brings in more rodents that's been sat down there for 2-3 weeks too long, then this is what it is. Now you got a choice. You can stay there, or you could raise an issue about it with your alderman and get this taken care of. You could just say, fuck it, I ain't gonna worry about it. It's on you.
Yeah.
But we gotta take shit seriously, man. I feel like this. It's one thing that, just to be passive on shit, but some of this shit, when it comes to your family and your livelihood, you gotta be proactive. You You can't just lag back on shit. This is where you live. This is your shit. But that's a choice too.
It definitely is a choice, but I definitely think, like, I have an issue. I don't loiter. Like, I hate to see people throwing shit out the window. That just throwing shit on the ground, because it when you think about it, like it never happens in white neighborhoods. It only happens in our neighborhoods, and that kind of thing, like clinically speaking, I ain't no psychiatrist or psychologist or psychiatrist or sociologist or whatever, but my thinking is like, I know that clutter and mess breeds like depression. Like you don't, if you get enough garbage flowing around your house, like you will stop caring because you will start to feel overwhelmed by the amount of trash. So you'll figure, well, why the fuck am I picking this shit up? It's just gonna come back bigger and better. So you just let it pile up. And then you have a community that just looks like a fucking garbage can. And then people stop caring. Like you have to start somewhere. For me, it's like trash because I can't stand trash. I'll pick up trash. If I park and I see trash on my curb, I'm going to pick that trash because I don't want trash in front of my house. And if somebody see me picking up trash, like you'll see older people picking up trash. And I used to be like, why the hell they picking up trash? But I get it now. Yeah. If I see you picking up trash, then I'm gonna be inspired to pick up the trash from in front of my damn house. Like it may not be my trash. I didn't put it there, but it's in front of my house. And I care about how my house looks. Exactly. And I'm going, let me pick this up and throw this in the garbage. So the people, whoever's doing it, no, motherfucker, I care about my shit. Please stop, don't do it. Don't, and I think that's where we need to start at, like taking some pride in the shit that we have, like just picking up the garbage, pick that shit up, pick it up and make your surrounding at least garbage free. Cause you're not gonna go into a white neighborhood and throw your trash on their ground. You're not gonna do it. No. You're not gonna convince me that you're gonna do it.
But they'll try. Cause
but if you're not gonna do it there, or if it gives you pause to do it there, why would you do? I wouldn't do nothing in my house that I wouldn't do somewhere else. So if you're not gonna throw garbage in somebody else's neighborhood, why would you allow somebody else to loiter in your neighborhood? Like I don't get that.
Because they don't give a fuck. It ain't, oh, I don't care, shit, whatever. That's the attitude that a lot of us have. That it's counterproductive, and that's why your neighborhoods look like shit, and you can go 10 miles in any direction, whereas non-Black folks and their neighborhoods look decent, if not good. That's what that is, because they choose to take care of their shit. We choose to just say, fuck it. It ain't mine. I ain't put it there. And that's not helping. I didn't do it. So Joe Blow over here did it. Okay, well, then it's going to be 20 beer bottles on your front lawn because you didn't put them there. I'm just going to leave them there. Ain't nobody got no damn maids. Shit, pick that shit up. But that's a choice. Like I say, I'm heavy on the choices because we all got a brain, and it's my theory that we all had a little voice in our head that'll tell us wrong from right.
Yeah, but we can we agree that the way that people are raised and the things that are normal, like what's normal to some people ain't normal to others. Like my idea of normalcy, like my idea of clean is, damn it, I'm not going to bed with any dishes in my sink. Whereas people, they you know what I'm saying? That's not normal for me. It's not normal for me to wake up and my kids are hanging outside cussing and acting a fool. That shit, that would blow me. That would make me lose my mind if my kid, I'd be like, yo, what's wrong? What's to y'all? What's going on with y'all? So what's abnormal to me is normal to the next person. I think that's like part of the problem is that some real dysfunctional shit has become the norm to some people. Yeah. And it's hard to make them see anything different, because if you have generations doing abnormal shit, why would they think that anything is wrong with it? Because everybody around them is doing the same shit. They're all hanging bags off of chain link fence. They're all doing the same shit. So I'm abnormal to them. Like when I tell my cousins, I'm like, hey man, why are you throwing shit? Like they know that I hate throwing. They'll throw garbage out just to upset me because they know that just bothers me. But they stopped doing it because I had to tell them, like, yo, you all are in your neighborhoods throwing fucking trash. That trash is gonna circle around, it's gonna blow around that paper, it's gonna end up in somebody else's yard. Like Alabama, oh my God, it has so much trash. People dump trash on the sides of the fucking road. Like I don't even know what's to their garbage system, but you can find any given day, like just you will drive past it's a field of damn trees, and you will see garbage just sitting there. Like in trash bags, you will see furniture, loose paper. Like I'm like, what is this shit? And it reminds me of the hood, because you're just throwing paper. And when you throw paper in our neighborhoods, that shit accumulates. It gets stuck on the fences. It makes it look nasty. It makes it look undesirable. And then people that come into those communities, they feel like if we don't care about it, why should they?
Right.
Why should they care about their property, and why should they care about the people in the community? Because we live like animals, and that's not, everybody in the community don't live like that. But it essentially, when you throw that trash like that, it makes the whole community look bad because that shit accumulates. That bothers me. That it just really junk, and it bothers me.
But this is why we don't get the government funding. A lot of those institutions don't exist anymore. Not only is it just a business, but hell, they can make the same argument. If y'all ain't taking care of y'all community, why should we? Why should we treat y'all better than y'all treat yourselves? So
Well,
you know, we all paying taxes. Anybody with it, I don't cut you off, but we all paying taxes. So I mean, okay, that's a piece of it. But you know, I mean, in my opinion, we got enough resources to put those facilities in our neighborhoods if we were unified and had solidarity to do that. But until we do, we have to depend upon an outside entity to give us the shit that we need. But yet and still, we're gonna go and support those liquor stores. We're gonna go and support those little shopettes and shit that they have where they selling T-shirts and hats and cigars and everything under the sun in the shopette. Those are their bottom line too. You see what I'm saying? Because they know damn well there ain't no grocery stores around. Well, you can come and buy a loaf of bread for me that's stale as fuck that costs you $6. Guess what? You ain't got no car. You know what I'm saying? And you too lazy to go a mile up the road, or you ain't got the resources to get up there. Then now you got to buy my $6 a $6 loaf of bread. And then you're gonna take that and you're gonna work with it. See, they know the game. See, motherfuckers know more about us than we know about ourselves, or that we choose to admit. And that's why they keep running the game on us. And we keep falling for the game because it's too much like right for us to work with one another. It's easier. I think it's easier for us to try to exist in their system or get a seat at their table than for us to work together and build our own shit. That's what I think.
I don't necessarily agree with that, just because we've done it before. And each time that we've actually built a system inside of theirs and outside, excluding them, they've torn it up. Like, they've bombed it. They've done some shit that, I mean, so it's not that we haven't tried. We have. Like, they fucked shit up, because at the end of the day, the segregation, the integration of us had nothing to do with them thinking that the shit was wrong. They wanted our fucking money because they saw how much money we generated amongst each other. Like, we were living better than the white folks. They saw that money. So let's integrate them so we can get those black dollars, because nobody would do business. We were forced to do business with each other. And that's what we need to get back to doing, business with each other and keeping our dollars black. And that'll speak volumes for a whole lot of stuff, just to keep our dollars black and start creating businesses where we don't deal with them unless we want to. Like, definitely, I think that we should spend our money in places where our money is appreciated. Period. Whatever that looks like. But when we talk about us, just like you said, Chinatown has it, Mexicans have it. We should have businesses that look like us that we can patronize. Yep. And if we choose to patronize somebody white, it's because we want to, not because we don't have any other choice. And right now we're doing it because we don't have a lot of black choices. So I think that what we need to start doing now is having a co-op. I mean, like, real talk, like, people that are really interested in growing something other than just having a corner store, but building a community within this system so that we can function the same way that everybody else function. The only thing to that is that they all get government funded money. Mm-hmm. Government is not going to give us money, because we have to figure out how to get it. Like, once we figure out how to get those grants and how to work around that system, we can do the same thing that they do, but they come in being shown how to get that money. Okay. We're not going to get that money. So I definitely think that we Black people, our generation, and even like our younger generation, like, I don't teach my kids to go to school to work for a job. Mm-hmm. I want them to be their own boss. I want them to be in charge of their own shit, because when you're in charge of your own shit, you create. If I can create a job for my child or your child, that's another level that we have to fight the white men, because white people may not. I ain't gonna even say white people. the 1%, they don't give a shit about you being black and white. They care about their money. They
Great.
care about their money. So if we want them to hear us and understand us, we can stop talking about black shit. We can start talking about money. You gotta respect my money. You gotta respect my money. And we have black folks collectively have plenty of money. If we start taking our black money and tell them we ain't giving you shit, they'll hear us. They'll hear us real good because we pay into a whole lot of shit that they got. We buying it. Let's stop doing that and actually come together and be like, okay, let's take all this money we spend on entertainment or whatever bullshit, things that are not necessary. Let's take all that money and put it in the kitty. And do something with it. Like do something like really, really collectively with it. If I don't have to come to a white man and ask him for a job, I can come to Kennard and say, Kennard, hook my son up with a job, and Kennard can give me a job. What does that say? That's telling them I don't need you like that.
Right.
Fuck you. I can fuck with you the way I want to fuck with you, but I really don't need you, not even for my livelihood. And until we get to a point where we can actually produce something and sustain ourselves without them, we're not going to get any respect for them because we're fucking leeches. Like we need you for some part of something. We need you for something.
I'd say even with Kyrie and even with Kaepernick and the issues those guys was having with the league, I kind of like what Cube did. Actually, I love what Cube did. Cube started his own league, got a 3-on-3 basketball league, black owned, black operated. And I'm like, that's what you're supposed to do. Is because you know what I'm saying? They don't want to dance to your music or whatever. You got rights and all that. But check this out. You could take your talents over here to this black league and go over there. Now you may not be making the billions and millions because of course they got way more backing than what you got, but it's a start. It's a small sacrifice. See, that's what I'm saying. So we got to support our own. The few of us that's out here that do have businesses, then we need to go and frequent those. Matter of fact, me and my mother, we go to breakfast every other Sunday or whatever. And there's a black boutique that's not too far from where we have breakfast at. She wanted to go, so we went in there. I was like, well, shit, whatever. We just bought a couple of items to show support. And that's the way you set the tone. You see what I'm saying? It wasn't shit that I needed. I don't think she too much needed what she bought, but it was just the fact that here's a black business owner and we respect that, we admire that, and we're gonna come in there and we're gonna support that. We ain't gonna make no excuses. Oh, the price is too high. Oh, well, they don't have this, they don't have that. Well, buy what she got. I don't care if it's $2. That's $2 more in her pocket to go feed a black family. We gotta do that because we don't come up with too many excuses when it comes to supporting them, but we got 1,000,001 supporting ours because we're jealous hearted and we petty. We got to get off that petty bullshit and start looking at the big plan. First off, we got to know what the big plan is. We got to get everybody on board with that. That's a task in itself. Yeah. But once we figure that out, then now we got to put the green behind it to see the shit come to fruition. But right now, today, no, it ain't gonna happen today. But look, I don't cut you short. You got any final thoughts? Because it's getting towards.
No, it's 12 o'clock. That's why I get ready to say, it's 12 o'clock. Right now, I'm not gonna be up with you till 2 o'clock again, Kennard. I'm not playing with you tonight.
And we did the thing last time. That show was 5 hours.
I know. I didn't go to bed. It was almost 3 o'clock when I went to bed. We got off at 2:30.
Yeah.
It was a good show, though. It was a really good show.
We had a hell of a show. We had a lot of good energy. Today was a good show. We had a good conversation. We fell a little short on people, but we was here, so we still made it happen.
And we didn't talk about critical race theory. I'm just gonna throw that out there.
You was reading my head on that one. Well, we didn't get into it today, so maybe we could touch it next week. If not, if we come up with a better topic, I'm always up for a better topic. Well, shit, this is the Uncommon Sense Show. I didn't even do the intro or nothing. But look, I was here with Alicia today. It was myself and Alicia, and we just ran through a lot of different things, and hopefully y'all can take something from it and take it and share the video around. It don't hurt to share it around. Let the people see it, man, because this is what we do every Tuesday. Well, actually, I put the shows out on Wednesdays, sometimes Thursdays, but we record it every Tuesday, 8:30, man. It's a live show. Tell your people about it. Support it. Support the Black business. And look, we're gonna see y'all next week. Much love, peace to y'all. Alicia,
Don't
thank
throw
you.
garbage outside. Don't loiter.
Oh yeah, and shout out to Tamika. Tamika was here too. She had to cut out early, but look, next week, hey, I think we're gonna have everybody back in full effect. But I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna get some sleep so I can get up in the morning. So all right, I'm gonna tape it and then well, it's already been taping, but I'm gonna try to post this tomorrow. But look, hey, peace to y'all, much love. We'll see y'all next week.
Later.
All right.